people. Who the fuck are you?
When I think of asses, woman's ass, something comes out of me.
He's John. I'm Aldo. I'm the one that fucked up the old thing.
I was wondering what was going on.
I don't even want to explain what happened because I'm not even sure what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the moral is don't drink and drive the show.
Did you see me dancing back there?
I did. Some
I just
funky
opened
moves.
my DraftKings account. Over the
Nice.
past 3 days, I won like $1,700.
Whoa!
Home run tonight. $5 bet paid $6.79.
Love it.
Yeah, just home
Holy
run props.
shit.
Just taking a chance on guys. I got strikeout props going with baseball. Been very, very good.
Very, very good to him.
I'm about to go upstairs and make love to my wife.
Yeah, baby. That sounds like a real winner.
She's gonna be happy. I know the gates are gonna open, Aldo.
So let's see. Two old farts about
draft
the.
fatigue.
All right.
That's
Hold on a second, Tooch.
Yeah.
Do you think this is Don Burr?
Yes.
All right. So I got a message for you, Don. Last week, I knocked you off of our show 3 different times. And the
Welcome
reason
back.
I did that is because you were being rude to the guests. You can be rude to me. You can be rude to the other people in the chat. You can be rude to John because we could take it. But a guest that I invite here, you mess with him, I'm going to fuck with you. So fuck you. I'm going to keep bouncing you out of here. Huh?
You were messing with ill will?
Yeah. You're saying the show was boring. This guy's boring. Fuck you, dude. Get the fuck out of here.
I thought Roy was awesome, dude.
Yeah. I don't like that shit. You know, it's like this motherfucking Don Burr, I let him get away with murder. He talks shit. I put the shit up on the screen. I don't care. Shit talking is all right. But when you are critical of a guest in my barroom, my home, then fuck you, dude. I'm not going to put up with that. So
yeah,
there you are. Carl says, Aldo, you're not allowed to fuck Tooch. I thought what we had was special. I haven't touched Tooch. I haven't touched him, despite the fact that I would really like to.
I saw a mock draft fatigue, and I kind of got to agree with that, Aldo.
Yeah.
I just want it to be over now, you know. But Bear State of Affairs will touch on a few of this stuff, and of course we got some other things to talk about.
Awesome. Yes, we got a few things.
You know what it is.
Oh yeah. We got Danny Shimon was supposed to join us, but he unfortunately had to back out at the last minute, which is fine because I called Polsky over from Bearskifilm, and he's going to join us in about 20 minutes. I do have a video with Danny talking about one of the day 3 gems. He and I worked on a video together, Tooch, while other people are out working, you know, delivering mail and writing out schedule sheets for the cars that the state has. I am working with Danny on videos. Did you notice that subtle dig there to
I was watching a bunch of Danny videos today too.
Yeah, were you? Okay.
Yeah, I was doing safeties, so I kind of was like, all right, let's get in on some safeties and stuff. I think I've seen all of his videos, so I'm doing my part.
There you go. He's a good guy.
Yep.
Pop in and Aldo is fucking yelling at someone. That's right, a little wasted. So we got a few things planned, and hopefully it'll be an entertaining show. Polsky will join us very soon. Tooch, you ready to?
Yeah.
And Bear State Affairs, you ready to stop counting all that money you have and
I know.
Bear State Affairs?
Yeah, I'm ready. It's gonna be happy days.
All right, stand by, grab your cocks and drop your socks.
Everyone on this show's a dog and a loser. Not John. He's the best, except for me. Except for me.
All right, Bears State of Affairs. Yeah, NFL offseason week 20. What's happening, Barflies? Well, Aldo, the big news this week. Yeah. Guess what, man?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big news, man. It's Caleb Williams, the Bears franchise quarterback, in his big Esquire magazine cover story. Yeah. Let me break this down for you, Aldo.
Okay.
Yeah. Caleb Williams, the Bears franchise quarterback, he posed for some high-fashion photo shoots and gave a lengthy and in-depth interview, perhaps too in-depth at times. You might say he bared his soul, Aldo. Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate the fact that he hid his fingers so that the news this week wouldn't all be about the Bears quarterback painting his damn fingernails.
Thank you.
Yeah. We got bigger fish to fry, amigos. Yeah. Expectations are high for 2025. After all, the Bears hired arguably the best offensive mind in the NFL this offseason to unlock Caleb Williams. Yeah, and
That's a W.
Yeah, it is a W, man. In his interview, Caleb reflected on the trauma he had to endure in his rookie season. Yeah. A season in which he was sacked a league high 68 times. Woo!
Oh my god.
Yeah, the season where the Bears lost, they lost 10 games in a row, although after starting out the season 4-2. Yeah, and they lost 12 games overall. Said Williams, quote, "I'll be honest with you. I've never lost this much before. I lost 10 games in one season. I think maybe 11. It's actually more than 11, he concluded."
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, Caleb, it was 12, buddy. We were 5-12 last season.
I'm crying.
That's right. Yeah, Bears fans were crying. But yeah, for Williams, who carried the nickname Superman since high school, it was a hard pill to swallow. According to the article, Williams was exhausted after the season and put some distance between himself and Hallis Hall, spending a good portion of the offseason in Copenhagen, Denmark. Well, for Bears fans, time away from the facility, a high-profile photo shoot, and cover story in Esquire before his team has accomplished anything. This is troubling.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
the Bears fans, that's right. Bears fans are used to high hopes followed by disasters. Shit, we still have PTSD from Chase Claypool's Paris photo shoot. Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry, bro. Yep. Yeah, not to mention, NFL pundits have already started picking the Bears as their favorite team to go from worst to first.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
From a Packers fan, although.
I think that guy played for the Packers. Kurt,
That's right. Kurt Benker. Yep, exactly.
Right.
Yep. Not only that, but yeah, ChatGPT predicts Caleb Williams to be the first billion-dollar player, Aldo.
Oh my gosh. That worries me.
Yep.
600 million guaranteed. Fucking George Hallis is rolling in his grave.
I know, for the cheapest, arguably, or rumors say the cheapest franchise ever. It's a hard pill to swallow too. $1 billion man.
Yes, indeed.
Dreading picking up that tab. But what's a Bears fan supposed to do, Aldo? Yeah, talk about the NFL draft. That always makes things better, right?
Awesome.
Unless you have draft like the chat room. Yeah. Draft week, well, it's less than 2 weeks away. And by all accounts, Bears are looking to improve on offense under new head coach Ben Johnson. So I thought I'd give you a little bad news, Aldo. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Bears, last season, the Bears offense generated 287.2 yards per game, which was 32nd or last in the NFL. As well, the Bears offense generated 4.9 yards per play. That also was last in the NFL. And the Bears scored 18.2 points per game, good for 28th in the NFL. In contrast, the Lions offense under Ben Johnson were second in the NFL with 409.5 yards of offense per game. They were first in the NFL with 6.23 yards per play. And they were first in the NFL with 33.2 yards per game. So you see, it's not all bad news, although. Yep. It's no secret. The Bears were terrible. The Bears were terrible on offense under Matt Eberflus. Yeah. In fact, the Bears were so bad under Matt Eberflus that Bears fans were left wondering why he wasn't fired before last season when the team drafted Caleb Williams. But as fortune would have it, the Bears were able to land the head coach who seems the most likely to reverse the team's yearly poor performance on offense. It's no secret that Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren hired Ben Johnson to revitalize the Bears offense. After all, the Bears offense has only finished in the top 10 in offensive ranking 3 times in the last 20 years.
Jesus.
And the Bears haven't run the ball well either. In fact, before DeAndre Swift arrived in Chicago, the Bears' leading rusher was their quarterback, Justin Fields, who led the team in rushing in both 2022 and 2023.
Ay, Dios mío.
In 2024, Bears running backs were last in the NFL with 3.5 yards per carry and 31st in percentage of runs of 10 yards or more. They were last in yards after contact per rush at 2.36. And DeAndre Swift, well, he was 45th out of 46 running backs in rushes per missed tackle. It's no question, Bears are looking to upgrade the running back position. Fortunately, this year's NFL draft is insanely deep at running back. At some point in this year's draft, the Bears will draft a running back. I wouldn't be surprised if they draft 2 running backs. In fact, just this week, this guy's going to give Aldo another boner.
Look how beautiful that man is.
Marion Hampton, North Carolina running back, was one of the top players of his position in the draft. He visited Hallis Hall just the other day. Yeah, as well, the Bears also had Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty in for a visit. If that doesn't say we're drafting a running back, I don't know what does.
I have to agree.
Yep. Will it be in the first round? Only time will tell. But running back has always been a part of the Bears franchise DNA.
Yes, indeed.
In fact, the Pro Football Hall of Fame includes several Bears running backs, including Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, all-time greats George McAfee, Bronco Nagurski, and Red Grange. Yeah, Ben Johnson's offense is predicated on the run game and play action in the passing game. He wants to hang 40 points on opposing teams every game. He has the driver and quarterback Caleb Williams, and now he needs an engine for his sports car. And for this old Bears fan and probably the barkeeper too, it'd be great to see the Bears get another great running back in this year's draft. Who will the next great Bears running back be? Only time will tell. That's Bears State of Affairs, Aldo. Woo!
We're finished talking.
How do you
What's going on? I don't know.
How do you do it? It's amazing.
Like throughout the week, I take little snippets and I put them in my notes in my iPhone, and then kind of brewing. I'm like, what are the ideas? What are the main stories? What are the ideas? What's going on? And then, I draw on like experience I have on the show with you and others, and then I draw on my 50 years of being a Bears fan, your experiences, Dan Aguirre's experiences, and all this stuff. And I look for the humor behind every little thing that the Bears do, because there's always something that we can laugh at, Aldo and I. So,
well, it's funny because you say you draw on your 50 years of experience of being a Bears fan, so that's why there's always a strain of melancholia in your Bears State of Affairs.
Yep. There's always the worry that the wheels come off. There's always the yearning for past history. There's always talking about the grand history of the franchise, that runs through this great team that we love, and that's a big part of it. That's kind of why whether the Bears grab someone like Omarion or Ashton, and either one of those guys could be the next great Bears running back. That's really what I want. I think my everything that I've said just prior to this is wants me to take the next great running back, so that the Bears can lead. Now I think back and the last great running back was probably Matt Forte, You know?
And some people would
Maybe
argue that he
Thomas
was great.
Jones. Yeah. He was great. Yeah.
I think so, but a lot of people like Dan Aguirre says he was a great pass catcher, but he wasn't a great running back. And I'm like, it doesn't matter how you get your yards. Yeah, he was not great at going in between the tackles and goal line situations. That was not his forte, pun intended. But the guy was an outstanding running back. Outstanding. There's no doubt about it. I agree with you. Thomas Jones was also outstanding. Yep. It's just too bad that they drafted Cedric Benson. It kind of shortened his career here. No doubt.
We had the guy here.
Mm-hmm.
We had
sure
him,
did.
You know
the story behind that, right? Greg Gabriel says that Lovie Smith was insistent that they draft Cedric Benson, and they were trying to tell him, Thomas did a great job last year. He's going to be even better this year. He's a locker room leader, and Lovie was kind of stubborn about that because he wanted that defensive team, and of course, a great running game will help the defense.
And Cedric from the same part of the country as Lovie Smith in West Texas.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Both West Texas guys. They were either from the same hometown or nearby the same hometowns.
Okay, I totally forgot about that. That's wild. Hey, you want to bring our guest in? What do you think?
Yeah, I would love to. Yep.
Should we just keep him backstage and see him twiddle his thumbs there? There you go. All right, let's bring him in. This is the first time you guys have really met, right?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Paulski from the Bearski YouTube channel. Is that the proper way to say the name of the channel?
Yeah, Bearskifilm.
Bearskifilm. There you go. So I've been on your show. This is the first or second time you've been at the Barroom.
I believe it's my first time on the Barroom.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I would have just gone with straight Bearski.
Mm-hmm.
But when you type Bearski into YouTube, you find videos of a Russian guy that's like wrestling grizzly bears.
Oh,
I was like, this guy's got me beat. I'm not even going to compete. Let's just add film at the end of it and go with Bearskifilm and ride that out. You know what I mean?
We can have you wrestle some Bears fans.
Hey, it's still kind of fit. You know what I mean? It's still kind of fit the tags for bears. People are still searching Bearski and bears, and they're just getting Russian animal wrestling videos. So yeah, I don't know. I had to add that film on there.
For those people who are not familiar with Bearski or your podcast and Bearskifilm, tell the people what's it all about, what do you do, and so forth.
Yeah, so me and my good friend David, we used to just sit on the phone for hours talking about bears, and we decided hey, we should just put the stuff online, and that's how the idea started. But the channel actually blew up due to the highlight videos. So yeah, I started just putting together some highlight videos, and never video edited before in my life before this. I've done a lot of Photoshop throughout my life, but yeah, I just started rolling with it, and music major in college, so I like putting different instrumentals that I find out there along with the music, and I think I do a good job of that. And yeah, I think that's what people really like. And then along with that, now we're doing our weekly show, so we get to sit there and now have an audience to be able to annoy. So yeah, no, it's a good time though. Usually during the season we do a weekly show. Right now during the off season we're kind of up and down, and we'll do one here and there. But yeah, we just talking bullshit football. Dave and Carl, Ty and Smy, they try and do an NFL ski show weekly on our channel, which just talks general NFL and things like that. And then, yeah, I come out with highlight videos and whatnot of anybody and everybody and all the games throughout the season. So
that guy, Carl, have you noticed something funny about him? Like wearing panties and stuff like that?
Yeah, man, I really try not to associate myself with him,
That's good.
But he is, he does a show weekly on my channel, so I have to kind of mention it. But otherwise, I would be like, I don't know who that guy is.
You didn't have to mention it.
So no, Carl's great.
I love Carl.
We love
Carl
him.
Yeah,
he's a good time for sure. So
I was actually going to invite him on tonight, but I figured, I really wanted to focus on you. So, because I want to set
Gave
you
me the
up
big
with
square
Tooch.
too,
Yeah, you get the big square, and it fits perfectly with your Bearskifilm. It's very creative there. Speaking of creative, you do a great job with these videos, and so you have a good storytelling sense. You pick good, high quality video. That's more than just knowing Photoshop. That's having some filmmaking, movie making chops. Do you have any experience at all in making movies?
Nope.
Look at that.
Not
I
at
went to
all.
fucking
Yeah. So
college and paid the fucking 100
yeah.
grand.
No, I
And
just
this
kind of started
motherfucker just
doing
picked
it.
up.
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of learn as I go. And so, and I definitely don't claim to be a video editor by any means, but I'm kind of like a McDonald's in a way. Like if I figured out a formula that works for me, I can rinse and repeat it and do it all and works for me. And that's all I need to know. But like you ask me, I don't know, make a video outside of football highlights, probably can't get it done. So
Yeah, you probably could. Don't underestimate yourself. By the way, Polsky and I are working on a film that we're hoping to have done immediately, or not immediately, but sometime soon after the NFL draft. I came up with an idea, and giving his post-production prowess, I figured, I'll reach out to him and see if he wants to put it together. I'll give him the A-roll, which is basically a script narration mixed with music, and he's going to put some of his magic on it, and that should be ready to go soon. Tooch, you and I need to work on a video soon. With your fucking writing chops?
Yeah, anytime. I'm ready.
Okay. You sound like you're half asleep. What the fuck?
I was listening to, I was wondering what media he uses to create the films.
Yeah.
I use
iMovie.
a free version of Microsoft Clipchamp.
All right. I don't even know that one, but
I don't know that one. I'm not a Windows guy, or not anymore.
Yeah, neither. Yep.
So yeah, that's what I use. iMovie.
I use iMovie too as well. I mean, I dabbled in After Effects, but
yeah,
you have, right?
Yeah,
I used to try and mess with all sorts of different programs and stuff like that. I've done Photoshop most of my life and whatnot, but yeah, the arts have always interested me. I did send over Aldo a little 3-minute video as well. If we
yeah, we'll play that
at any point.
I just want to exhaust all these possible jokes as possible. So, have you ever made any pornos? Because if you have, or are willing to do some more, I got a leading man for you.
I've seen that a couple times, and actually, when you first asked me, "Do you have any video experience?" That's the first thing that came to my head. Do I? I don't think so. So
that's hilarious. All right, so let us get to a video that this was just released recently, right?
Yep, like a day ago, I believe.
Okay, and what's been your reaction so far?
It hasn't been one of the most popular videos. It's all timing with that. To be honest with you, so yeah. But personally, I've rewatched it a couple times. I like it. I do like it. I found some really nice city shots that I threw in there. So
excellent.
I think, I'm happy with it for sure.
All right. Anything else you want to say leading into it?
No, let's just take a quick look and then talk some Bears football, right?
All right. Here is the latest creation from Bearskifilm by Polsky, and he's got it titled the Caleb Bears hype video. Here it comes.
With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams.
exposed as you go along.
Right.
But what you saw was his talent show up countless throughout the entire season, especially in critical moments. That was the most important thing for me to take away from the season. In those critical moments, he elevated the game, and unfortunately, a lot of those didn't finish the game for whatever reason. But you saw him elevate, put us in a position to win, and I think we're going to be able to hold on to that, and that's going to show up as we move into the future.
Yeah. You think Ben can implement some of those little things and get him on track of bad habits or tells in his game or whatever else?
Yeah, Ben will not allow bad habits to continue on. So it will be called out. It will be dealt with before we move on to the next thing. I have a lot of confidence in that.
Paulski, great job. The reviews are in. Cliff Victoria says, I'm psyched after seeing that. Dan Brown says, very nice, Paulski. Impressive. Photography Anonymous, nice video for sure. The reviews are whammo.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
nice.
A nice little 3-minute video. So
Tooch is still fucking counting his money. He didn't even look at the video.
I'm like,
look at him. He's still counting his money.
My tax attorney, I got to file my taxes.
Oh, my God.
2 hours and 20 minutes. So, like, I know.
Right at the deadline.
That's
huh?
hilarious.
I'm not usually right at the deadline. I've never been in that situation. But
you know what? I would be the same way if I had to do it, but my wife takes care of all that shit. I am a blessed man because of that. D. Starren says that video was fucking great. Cliff goes on to say Komet is going to be doing a lot of that. Bear Truth 9. It is that 3, 6, 9, 10, 15 fireballs.
A lot of fire.
Yeah, very, very good. Really, really nicely done. You know,
yeah.
I got a thought. Let me know what you guys think about this. If I ran the Bears communications department, I would say to all Bears fans who like doing what Paulski did, you know, and there are a lot of fans who like to edit their videos and so forth. I would say we have created a hub where you can get pictures of the Chicago Bears and the NFL, a limited amount of pictures so that you can do your videos. Every week we'll populate it with more. And we will then showcase your videos on our website. There you are. And therefore, you are creating more interest in the football team. You're allowing fans to get involved with being creative, like Paulski has shown that he is very, very good at. It's a win-win for both parties, as opposed to this fucking bullshit where they, you know, make it very, very difficult for fans to participate in the communications part of the team. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy enough that they do like the mic'd up videos and stuff like that, and even share that stuff. And that's what I mean. I'm not the biggest fan of Hard Knocks, but it was very cool from a content creator point of view to have just those extra clips and that extra content to be there and be available from those episodes that you could kind of, you know, pick out and use here and there. So, you know, there's that side of it. But yeah, it could be a pain in the ass too. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, because you gotta you know to do a video like that, you gotta find that fucking video. You gotta hunt for it. You gotta look and stuff. And you know, like I said earlier, you're picking a lot of high quality images, and so that makes the job even tougher. And so the Bears, if they were good, if they would allow us to be ambassadors for their brand, put some high quality video out there in some kind of portal that we can access and let us create some cool videos like Polsky just did, as opposed to making it so fucking hard on us. Cliff is saying, Tooch, I closed the sale today quite a bit more than $1,700, but not as fulfilling as gambling for a nice win. There you go. Tooch is a big winner over the last few days. $1,700 in gambling wins. Polsky, you gamble at all?
I do not. No.
You're a smart man. Because I think Tooch is in the red for the year. Are you in the red or in the black, would you say?
This year I'm up big.
Yeah?
For 2025, yeah. Just from
it's funny
college,
that you're
college
saying
basketball and the past 3 days of
it's funny that you're saying that on IRS day. You know,
yeah.
they might be listening.
Yeah, right. Make sure you claim you're up exactly. How much did I file?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Casey says, awesome video, and we'll have to start looking for more of your content. Loved seeing the Komet highlights, and assuming that you would like to see more of Komet being involved.
Yeah, definitely. I got maybe 1,000 videos.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have 1,000. There was a while that I was just grinding them out left and right. So
jeez, that's a lot of videos.
It's been a couple of years now, so there might be there's a lot of different highlight videos and stuff like that. You could go down a rabbit hole on my channel if you wanted to and start watching anything and everything. So yeah, it's on there. Go check it out. Just youtube.com/@Bearskifilm. But yeah, I know you guys were talking about a running back earlier too, and I totally agree with you guys. The Bears are drafting a running back. We need to draft one. I'd still prefer to trade out of the first round and acquire that draft capital to do so. But regardless, I just don't want one in the first round.
Now, Tooch is going to give you an argument after he hits file tax on his device.
Yeah. That's an argument because
Visual Show says, although I was so desperate for the draft, I actually watched the he probably says the WNBA draft, and they had the same the pick is in the music. Oh yeah, the chimes. They did have that. Although I thought they played it a little late. You know, the commissioner's already talking and they're playing the chimes. Yeah, I'm a big WNBA fan now, and frankly, I look at it because of the ass involved. You know, girls with finely tuned asses. Oh my gosh, I'm in. I'll watch. So, yeah, I agree with you that picking a running back in this draft, or really any draft, in the first round is a real difficult pill to swallow. And in this draft, it's even harder because of all the talent available at that position. But one of the things I wanted to do today is play a little game, and you're kind of led right into it. The first one, this is a hypothetical situation. I'm always of the theory that the Chicago Bears have to foresee any potential issues, problems, offers that may come up so that they can have given it some thought and they can respond accordingly. So if you were in the Bears war room, so to speak, and this issue came up, jumping up for Genty, the Bears are in love with Ashton Genty, according to Matt Miller of ESPN. Would you make the following trade to acquire him? Tooch, pay attention. Bears get 2025 first-round pick, number 6 overall. That way they will lock in Genty with that pick, but they have to give away their number 10 pick this year, their 2025 third-round pick, which is the 72nd overall pick, and trade DeAndre Swift to the Raiders. So I ask you, Polsky, I ask you, Johnny Santucci, I ask Cliff and everybody else in the chat room, what are your thoughts, man? You're pulling the Seymour Butts, by the way, is trying to fuck with me here. The WNBA makes me laugh. Basketball, it's not boring. It's not boring. You look at the wrong thing. You're looking at the ball going in the hole. You got to look at the legs and the ass and all that stuff. That's what you got to do. See more butts. You want to see more butts? Just watching a WNBA game, you fucker. Anyway, back to our scenario. Ashton Genty, I know. I think Tooch is going to say yes to this. Tooch, I'm going to play it again for you. Here are the parameters of the trade. You're trading.
Gonna say yes.
He's going to say yes. 2025
Oh.
first round pick. You're going to trade the number 10 overall, Tooch. You're going to trade the 72nd pick overall. That's that third round pick and DeAndre Swift so that you can move up 4 spots and pick Ashton Genty. Is this a Mitchell Trubisky trade or is this one of the better trades in Bears history? What say you, amigo?
Is it me or Polsky?
You go first, Tooch, and then because I know what Polsky's going to say. He's
I'm,
already
I'm
made it clear.
interested.
You are? Polsky? I thought you didn't want to.
No, I'm interested in hearing Tooch.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay. I see. My worry is that the Jaguars are in play for Genty, and they pick one pick ahead of the Raiders.
But let's assume we've gotten to that pick, the number 6 pick, and now they're calling. Hey, we heard your new head coach over there loves Ashton Genty. We're willing to trade him for your number 10. And your third round pick overall and DeAndre Swift, who's got 1 year in his contract, so he's basically a 1-year rental for the Raiders. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good deal.
Tell Polsky why, because he's in the war room right now saying you're a fucking idiot, and he's being nice.
Yeah,
you get the engine for Ben Johnson's car. And I know it's a deep draft for running backs, and I had this discussion on Barfly Tailgate on Sunday. The other guys were saying the Bears can always get a guy later, but you're just going to get a guy.
Wait a minute. Show me that picture again of Hampton. That's not a guy.
There's
That's a Greek god.
I haven't finished, but. Ashton Genty, to me, is at the top running back. Then there's a gap. Then there's guys like Hampton and Quinshawn and Caleb Johnson and Travion. And I like all these guys. With Travion, I'm worried about the pounding and the past injury history. Amari and Hampton, great receiver too. Not the best at pass pro. And then Quinshawn or Travion Henderson, probably the best receiver in pass pro. He loves pass protection. Mm-hmm. Quinshawn, good. He'll take a pounding and stuff. He's got some speed as well. But Ashton Genty is an explosive play 40% of the time.
Tooch, let me ask you this. Do you think that Ashton Genty can reach that level of Bears gods, Walter Payton and Gale Sayers?
Well, those are lofty. Lofty expectations. The highest of heights. But I think there's a chance. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a chance. Yep. I'm trading up for one of the few blue chip players in this draft. There's only a few. There's 4, maybe. There's what do you say?
Greg Gabriel says there's 6.
6. I was going to say
Travis
4, 5,
Hunter,
maybe 6. Yeah.
I forget who the 6 are, but yeah, and I agree with him. There's about 6 or 7. But Abdul Carter, we've talked about this on this show before. I would definitely entertain trading up for Carter if he falls to 4, or especially if he falls to 5 or 6, which is a small possibility. But why don't you make your case, Polsky, as to why Tooch is out of his fucking mind?
Yeah. So there's a couple things. The way I look at it, at least, right? So, number one, when it comes to positional value in positions, a wide receiver, a lot of positions on the field depend on somebody else. Wide receiver depends on a quarterback. The running back depends on an offensive lineman. Offensive lineman, defensive lineman, they don't depend on shit. They depend on themselves. I mean, they do kind of depend on the guys next to them a little bit and whatnot, but it's more of a easier thing to scout and kind of know you have a better feeling about, right? Mm-hmm. So like you said, trade up for Carter, Mason Graham, or something like that. Like, sure, if you're convicted on a lineman, I'm cool with that. But when it comes to a top 10 pick, so I look at analytics and things like that, and just because something hasn't been done doesn't mean that it can't be. I understand that,
Sure.
but when certain things are just so one-sided, it's really hard to make the argument that, like, okay, it's hasn't happened in 30 years or 25 years, but we're going to be the ones that do it, right? It just kind of feels like you're smarter than everybody else again, which always fails. And when I look at running backs drafted top 10 overall, I mean, name me one that's won a Super Bowl with the team that's drafted him. I mean, recently you had Saquon Barkley, but still, he's on his second team. There's a lot of guys that were on their second team that went off and did it. But when it comes to a first-round pick running back, man, even when it works out and you do get Adrian Peterson, for some reason, history has shown you that those teams still don't wind up going all the way. And then what happens also is you get into a situation where, like the Cowboys did with Ezekiel Elliott, even when you do have a good offensive line and you draft this guy high and it's contract time and he has been producing, well, you have to pay him. There's no reason not to pay him. And then you pay him and he falls off a cliff and his backup, Tony Pollard, is just as good. I mean, guys, we've had guys like Le'Veon Bell that were so special, and then he sits out for a contract. Connor comes in there and racks up yardage just the same, right? So, and then the third thing I would say is we get caught up in these guys, but we have to remember they are prospects. I mean, you could go through these drafts year after year after year after year and see, all these guys were great prospects. Dude, Trent Richardson, muscle hamster, right? Drafted third overall. So, like, there's just too much risk involved, in my opinion, into compiling picks and trading up for that kind of position. Even if it does work out, I don't think it's going to live up to the value that you were giving in order to make that move. I don't know. I think the draft's a shit show. I'm all for trading back, acquiring more picks, and swinging the hammer more. Like I said, get a running back, but do it in the second round. Matt Forte was a second round pick. We were talking about how he was. There's a lot of good players out there still. Doesn't have to be the top prospect. You don't have to get all excited and trade picks away when you have so many needs, like this team still does.
As Scrolls is asking, he says, name a team that was led to the Super Bowl by a trench player.
I mean, typically there's playmakers on both sides, but like, Jesus, I'm blanking on the name, but who's the guy on the Chiefs that they just signed? I mean, that they've kept around their defensive tackle.
Chris Jones. There you go. Drafted a year before.
They're making it to the Super Bowl because of Mahomes. There's no argument.
How about Aaron Donald?
Aaron Donald is a good, player, but I think that the point, that Scrolls is making is that you have a guy who's going to touch the ball offensively 20 to 30 times a game, who can, Tooch has been saying
a while
for weeks
back,
now. And you have a guy who can put teams away in the second half. And here really is the biggest argument for, and I'm not advocating for Genty. I am advocating that we make the right decision, And so in this dialogue, it has to be said that Caleb Williams is not going to be Patrick Mahomes in his sophomore season. He's going to be better. There's no doubt about it. But if we want to get into the playoffs, there it is. If we want to get into the playoffs, we have to really have the best running game in the National Football League.
Yep.
That's the must. And so how do we get there? Do we get there by drafting Genty and then supplementing the offensive linemen that we already have? Or do we get there by drafting the best offensive linemen and then picking up a complimentary back to DeAndre Swift? That to me is the big issue here.
May I
please
make a counter argument or counter?
Oh yes, I love it.
The Bears off-season free agents and trades, they made 5 trench players. So they rebuilt the entire interior of their offensive line with 3 new players. And arguably, they've spent the money. They're the fourth. It's the 4th most expensive offensive line in the NFL now. They signed Grady Jarrett and Deo Adingbo to give themselves some more pass rush juice and arguably more flexibility in the draft, where they don't have to take trench players. And at the top of the draft, there really aren't any offensive linemen worth a top 10 pick. Maybe Will Campbell, who I think could play left tackle in the NFL.
But there is a question.
But there's a question mark there, and the Bears have question marks at left tackle. Yes, Braxton Jones' injury, Karan Armagaji, is unproven. Got thrown into the fire last year, and I watched the Commanders game again recently, and there were some moments where I really saw that this kid could have a really good future. A high ceiling, he moves well. He's got those long arms, and he walled off some guys pretty well against the Commanders. That's a pretty good defensive line, or it was last year. Now, as far as Ashton Genty goes, if you were going to trade back, you risk out on losing perhaps Amarian Hampton. Maybe there's a run on offense or on running backs somewhere in the mid to late first round, and then we're looking at late second, third tier running backs, and you miss out on the blue chip player that I think Ashton Genty is. And to tell you the truth, giving the Bears the running game that he would give, nearly a 40% missed tackle rate, 5.5 yards per carry after contact. That was unheard of. His college stats, yes, he played in the West Coast Conference. Yes, he didn't do that great. Only 130 yards versus the best defense in college football. I've heard it all. He fumbled 6 times last season. Guys are going to fumble. I'll take 1 to 3 touchdowns per game and a fumble every 3 games if that's going to help Ben Johnson hang 33.2 points per game on other teams, which was first in the NFL. Now, the Ben Johnson offense ran play action 37.1% of the time of their pass plays.
What's that figure again?
37% of their pass plays were play action. It was second in the NFL. So he wants to run play action, and in order to run play action, you have to have a good running game. Now imagine people game planning to stop Ashton Genty or Amarian Hampton every week, and then running into play action during the game, and explosive plays happening on top of that from the running back behind a brand new offensive line. So for me, running back is the most important need in this draft for the Bears. And I don't see why they shouldn't pick one in the top 10. Now, I also gave the stat about the Bears running stats last season. Let me see if I have it back here. Let's see.
The one that you just had up during State of Affairs.
Bears running backs were last in the NFL with 3.5 yards per carry. They were 31st in the league in runs of 10 yards or more. Last in yards after contact per rush. And DeAndre Swift was 45th out of 46 running backs in rushes per missed tackle. And I like DeAndre Swift. So for us to unload him to the Raiders and only cost us a third-round pick, I think the trade has enough value where we're not hurt too much. We still have 2 second-round picks. And you can even trade one of those back, recoup the pick. We have 2 second-round picks next year. We could trade one of those and move back into the third or whatever, get more picks. So for me, I think I make the trade, and I hand this kid the ball 25 times a game and see what happens.
Now, let me, before you respond, let me offer this too. Those stats that you read from last year were a lot of it was the result of the injury to the offensive line, an incompetent offensive coordinator, the buffoonery by the general manager, and the transition to the new offense and a new offensive coordinator.
Least expensive.
So I because I think that there's the running game was not as bad as the numbers say from last year, but it was bad. Go ahead, brother. I apologize, Polsky.
No, you're all good. So, okay. I think we're putting the cart in front of the horse a little bit because, you read off those rushing numbers and stats, and we were 31st in a lot of them. But I also know we had the most sacks on a first overall pick quarterback. And even though we have made a lot of moves to the trenches, it's still not done. It's still not enough.
Well, who are you going to pick, though? I mean, who would you replace on the offensive line?
one of the guards that we signed, he's coming off of a hurt season with the Rams. He didn't even finish last year, right?
Jonah Jackson.
Jonah Jackson, exactly.
You want to take a guard in the top 10?
I don't. I preferably would rather trade back. That's why why
don't you take one with one of the
I'm
two
leaning more defensive
picks?
ends. Like if you're stuck at 10, I think you take defensive end. And I think you can never have enough pass rushers. And I think those guys make a big impact on the defensive side of the ball, man. A sack can kill a drive, and that, you only get so many of those a game. It could make a huge impact. And I'm not saying we don't take a running back. I'm saying we do take one just in the second round. I think this draft is deep enough with a lot of different guys, and I'm just not so ready to call the offensive line fix just yet until I see it. And still just one injury away from it kind of being a shit show again. So it's still very thin at the top, even though, the positions have been, they've got different guys to fill in those positions. But, man, dude, when you go through it, okay, so let's take a look at the NFC South, right? The Saints, the Panthers, the Bucks, the Falcons. You would think a guy picked 8th overall like Bijan Robinson should tear that division up. And what did the Falcons do with him? Nothing. I mean, we just saw it last draft, right? So, dude, I'm telling you, when you go through the history, it's not always great. Like Najee Harris, how's he doing? Josh Jacobs, is he on the team that drafted him? Nope. Neither is Saquon. Todd Gurley, hey, remember that guy? He was picked 10th overall. Trent Richardson, like I said, CJ Spiller, no Sean.
You're just telling us that these players are gambles, which we know in a draft. Any player you draft is a gamble.
Yes, but I'm just saying I find that running backs you can hit on in those later rounds more often than most positions. To me, although they're less of a dime a dozen than they used to be, they still are kind of a dime a dozen. You still kind of want fresh legs. I think a good game plan and scheme and execution by the offensive lineman opens up a lot of holes that a lot of different guys can run through, and you don't necessarily need a guy that's picked at the top 10 of the draft or trade picks together to move up for a guy.
I'm struggling to see who you would take at the top instead.
Oh man, I
can see trading up for Abdul Carter. Okay,
and Mason Graham. I like Mason
Graham.
I'm
on board with that.
I think if Mason Graham falls to 7, I think you trade up. If not, I think you try and trade back.
So there's the same argument for defensive tackle. This draft is deep in defensive tackle as well.
Yes,
so you're making the same argument I'm making for running back, but you're making it for a defensive tackle.
No, because when you look throughout the league at the defensive tackles that are successful and that do produce throughout the NFL, most of these guys are first round picked guys. There's not many actually outside of the first round. Some are second round guys. Rarely here and there do you find guys later in the rounds at the defensive tackle position that do wind up, getting like a second contract on a team. They do pop up here and there, but not as often as running backs. Running backs, you've had a lot of different guys found throughout the draft. Same thing. I make the same case for wide receivers. There's a lot of different wide receivers that you can find throughout the draft as well that have produced in this league. And so those positions, I would prefer to kind of just.
Okay. So you want to trade up for Mason Graham?
I would trade up for Mason Graham. Like if he's available, pick 7, you can trade up a couple spots to get him. Yeah, that's a guy.
I might be able to get him. Like. I kind of think that there's plenty of. I almost like Derek Harmon as much, and you don't have to trade up for him. To me, Derek Harmon's next Chris Jones, and you just talked about Chris Jones. To me, a lot of similarities to Chris Jones. Great. He stops the run and rushes the passer like Mason Graham does.
Right. And, you could have your preference on guys. I don't like sitting there and trading draft capital away to move up for guys typically.
Yeah, nobody does.
Yeah, right. And so I would not do it for running back, not this high in the draft. No, thanks. I don't know. I'm not interested in that scenario at all whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah. I don't look at it as trading up for a running back. I look at it as trading up for a blue chip player.
And I get that. And listen, I don't know what the Bears are going to do. They might do that. Ben Johnson with the Lions did that for Jahmyr Gibbs. They did trade up to get a running back in the first round. I hate that approach. I don't think it tends to work out.
Our defensive line, fairly strong right now. Our running back room, very weak.
Yeah, but we still do have Swift here for one more year. So you draft a guy in the second
I
round.
gave you all of
You can get
Swift's stats.
Omarion Hampton, but dude, there's a good handful of running backs that you could put in there on first and second down.
I agree.
And have DeAndre Swift come out on third downs and be just fine, while
I
you
agree.
make sure that the rest of this thing is going properly, because what we saw last year, there was a lot of issues with the entire offense, right? So they got a lot of work to do, and I think
We didn't have Ben Johnson last year, though.
I know, but I think it's kind of like I said, putting the cart before the horse a little bit, because.
But you haven't, though.
Yeah, but you're saying like the offensive line is completely done, and we don't know. We haven't seen it yet. I still got to go. I want to see it. You know what I mean? So
right, but you put arguably a Hall of Fame player at left guard.
So, Tooch, let me interrupt you. I apologize for doing that. But Casey has a question here that relates to what you were saying exactly. Scale of 1 to 10, Walter Payton being a 1. Where do you project Genty being rated as? Because I think that's
one
part
is
of
like
this
the
discussion.
Great, yeah. No, I agree. And Walter Payton also coming from a small school without a lot of facing the top competition. That's the argument against Ashton Genty. He didn't face top competition. So Walter Payton, what is like 10 out of 10, or 10 is low, is bad, and 1 is good?
Right. Yes.
Wow, it's tough. So, I mean, like Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, Barry Sanders, those are all 1s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emmitt Smith,
all 1s.
A guy who was drafted with his team very high and won multiple Super Bowls. I would say I put Ashton Genty at 5 or higher, maybe 4, 3, or 2. 2 is lofty. That's putting a lot of like generational type hype on the guy, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But it's up to the player, to really ascend to these heights. It's not up to me. He's got the stats. He's got the measurables. The thing is that with Ashton Genty, man, this kid is all business. He's quiet. He goes to work. He works his ass off. He's worked his ass off since he was a little kid in Jacksonville, Florida. And he was in Italy, too, with his family, where he worked out and stuff.
Right.
And then he played football in Frisco, Texas, the hotbed of football, arguably Texas. Texas and Florida, the 2 biggest, states for high school and college football. But I think he has potential to be on the same level as Bijan, Saquon. And now I could hear Ben Johnson whispering in Ryan Poles' ear, "Get me that guy."
Let me present to you what Chubbs is saying. And Chubbs has been very generous this evening. Chubbs, you are beyond being nice tonight. So thank you very much. He writes, drafting a running back at pick number 10 he played in a terrible defensive league, which is stupid, just so you can get maybe 100 more yards and the gamble that he is better than Trayvon Henderson or Quinshawn Judkins. He makes a very good counterpoint in favor of what Polsky is saying is this guy, he looked like Superman, but he wasn't playing in the DC universe, for lack of a better way of putting it. How do you respond to that?
Well, I can't argue, because West Coast Conference, the teams that he faced weren't the best.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't terrible defenses. They're still NCAA defenses. It's not Penn State.
Right.
It's not Notre Dame. It's not Georgia. It's not Alabama. And Ohio State had a better offensive line. Boise State's offensive line wasn't Ohio State's offensive line either, Chubbs.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashton Genty had to make what he had to do with his offensive line. So, I mean, if you put Ashton Genty on Georgia Bulldogs, Chubbs and I are not having this conversation. We're just not.
That's a good point there, Polsky.
Yeah, I don't know,
but
man.
It is a what if. What if he played in the SEC?
You have to project. I mean, look, I'm happy with the Marion Hampton or Caleb Johnson, too, or Quinshawn.
I want a running back.
Judkins. But,
I do.
The majority of professionals in this league say that he's a blue chip player. And in the NFL analysts, Greg Gabriel, Other folks say that he
Oh,
is
there's
one of
plenty
the-
of people.
there's
There's no
plenty of
doubt
people
about it. Yeah.
Right. I'm not
Yeah.
the only one projecting him to be a good ball player.
Right.
They're never wrong either, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, man, when you go back through these drafts,
they're wrong. They're wrong and they're right.
Show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that are misses, and if you really wanted the best running back in the league, you could have just signed him last year. Saquon Barkley was out there. I mean, I heard he wasn't interested in the Bears. Whatever, you could get into, but
the Bears weren't
he didn't
interested
cost
in him
all that much.
Yep, they
So
were
these guys
interested.
man, I'd rather sign.
But how many Saquons come along, Polsky?
Dude,
how many? There's one.
Derrick Henry was out there. Like, if you really look at, here's the other thing is, we're not just a running back away. Like, we don't need just a gadget player away. We're the 4th in our division. And first of all, what are the other teams in our division doing? I mean, I know the Lions traded up for Jahmyr Gibbs, but they have also a nice little 1-2 combo, which is kind of what you're making.
Why did they trade up for Jahmyr Gibbs?
But the Packers have Josh Jacobs.
Yep. Why did the Lions trade up for Jahmyr Gibbs?
I'm not a fan of the move because I don't know. They like him.
Well, Polsky, you're losing me. The last 2 comments that you've made, you're losing me.
Well, they traded up because he makes Ben Johnson's offense go.
Yeah, Gentry's not a gadget player. A running back is a guy that's going to touch the ball on traditional football running plays, up the middle, sweep left, sweep right, catch passes, and so forth. And he is proven at Boise State against not near top competition, but he's proven to play at a superstar level. And so that's the conundrum
when he played Oregon, who has a great defensive line, he was awesome in that game. When Boise State played Oregon. Now, I'm with you though. I mean, look, I'm happy if they trade back and get Omarion Hampton or Caleb Johnson, because both those guys will fit the Bears system also. There's no guarantee that they're there when we trade back, though. That's the worry. Now, if the Bears do decide to trade back, they'll probably get a good player, and we'll do fine. Now, listen, the running back is currently undergoing a resurgence in the NFL, much like Aldo was on the pressure up in the face. Quarterback hates pressure up the middle. That's why the 3-tech became popular, rose to popularity. Running backs currently undergoing a renaissance. I think it might be their position might be valued a little bit more in the coming years, if not this year. Will be valued a little bit more as far as, I mean, they've been getting disrespected because one, they break down, they take a lot of wear and tear. There's this draft, there's a million of them. This draft is deep but let's say the Bears don't trade up and they keep their picks and they grab a guy. That's fine. I'll bet you they grab a second running back too, because it's so deep. And adding to the running back room with the guys we have, they don't scare teams at all.
I mean, if a guy like Damian Martinez is available in the middle of day 3, I'm going for him because he's a power back. He can provide great relief for your Ashton Genty or DeAndre Swift, whoever is the number 1 running back.
I draft 2 in this one. In fact, I make it a point to draft 2 in case one gets injured,
because there's a lot of talent. I'm not arguing
in this
that
draft.
point. Yeah,
I draft 2.
Guys, I really love this fucking discussion because this is true. No, really, this is true war room, discussions. It's people pounding on the table. Polsky is making a really good case, and so is Tooch. I would say the chat is divided. I think 60% Tooch, 40% Polsky, and that's an unscientific guess. But Chubbs gets the final word because he's fucking paying for my mortgage.
Yeah.
Barkley played in the Big Ten on Penn State as the entire offense. There was no question about his competition. I wonder if Chubbs knows how much money he has spent tonight.
Yeah,
this is like going over to Rivers Casino.
Dollars flying in while I'm doing the podcast. I'm wondering if I'm supposed to start taking the shirt off or what's going on here.
Let's see those tits.
I'm gonna donate $5 and just post Chubbs as a dick.
You guys remember?
Look, it's great. I mean, look, Walter Payton didn't play against great competition. I mean,
it's
projection.
There was
Yeah.
such a
It's all-
different
Oh
league
yeah,
in
it
a
is.
That
different
was a
era.
different time back there. Sure,
And,
I get
and
it.
it's so hard to even compare today's running backs to those running backs. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just not even.
Yeah,
I
lost-
totally agree. Totally agree.
I can't hear Polsky anymore. Is there?
Polsky, yeah, I lost your audio there momentarily.
Look, I mean, I'm going to be fine with whatever they do. I mean, I just at the top of the draft, I only trade up for players like Ashton or Abdul Carter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe Mason Graham. You know, I could see him trading up for Mason Graham. I'm fine with that too. You know, I think Mason Graham is a fine player, stops the run, and he gets pressure up the middle, and that's what you want. You want a defensive you want defensive pressure up the middle, someone to rotate in with Grady Jarrett and Andrew Billings.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about Mason Graham being a player you would trade up for.
Yeah, and
I think that
I
would
like
be
to
fine
remind
as well.
I like to remind Aldo when I had him on for that Bears therapy show what he told me about Aaron Donald and how the Rams did not need a defensive tackle. They did not need one, but they took one anyway, and it wanted to be an Aaron
The
Donald.
Bears need a defensive tackle, though.
Dude, everybody needs defense. I mean, even the Eagles, left and right, they were drafting these guys. And remember, they gave a fourth-round pick for Robert Quinn. He didn't produce anything over there, but I mean, they just stock up on they might have needed him if they went on the deep playoff run. Who knows? And even if you got him, a sack in a crucial moment, that could have been worth a fourth-round pick to them. Who knows? But defensive line, you could never have enough of these guys. You rotate them in and out. And so that's why, I still think that we could use more on the defensive line. And I'm kind of leaning towards that a little bit more.
The one
but yeah, I just want to bring you back real quick. Remember when we drafted Cedric Benson?
Sure.
And remember like 3 yards, 2 yards.
I didn't feel the same about Cedric Benson.
It was just like, what the fuck
about
did
any of these other running backs
for? No, I know, but he still got drafted at that level, right? So like these guys.
Yeah, that was a dumb move because Cedric Benson wasn't transcendent.
Right. I agree with Tooch. And we said earlier before you jumped on, Polsky, is that Benson was a Lovie Smith, the head coach. Yeah. This is according to Greg Gabriel, who was the director of scouting at the time. He says that Lovie was insistent to bring in a power back like Cedric Benson so they could have a Thomas Jones, Cedric Benson thing, but he wanted Benson to be a 20 carry a game guy to keep the defense off the field. And we know that Lovie Smith was a defensive coach. So I don't think it's a fair comparison. And like Tooch said, they're two different type of backs. I think that the key thing here is Ben Johnson, when he was with the Detroit Lions, they had 2 first-round draft picks. They traded up into round 1, like Tooch mentioned, to grab Jahmyr Gibbs. And he has been a big part of this offensive juggernaut that the Lions have had the last couple of years. If Ben Johnson – okay, Polsky, let me frame it this way. You're the general manager. You're Ryan Poles. You just hired Tooch, who is your new head coach. And he's got the opinion. He's your Ben Johnson. He comes with that pedigree. And he says to you, I want Genty because I know that I can. He would be even better than Gibbs. We will score 30-plus points every week. I guarantee you. He's the guy. What would you say?
Listen, man, I'm not. It's different to be in that situation, right? You want to work well with people and things like that. And I was kind of even in shock when I saw the video that he was willing to trade up and give a 4th-round pick to get Roman Dunze. And Ian Cunningham told him, whoa, let it come to you, pump the brakes a little bit. So I would be like Ian. I might be like Ian Cunningham a little bit.
Right.
You're like, hey, wait a second. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, pump the brakes a little bit. Maybe we really need to think about this one. But, dude, it's just I've seen it all too often, left and right. When you fall in love with a guy, we fell in love with this guy, and, like, it just doesn't always work out that way. What does work out is a good game plan, good execution, a good scheme, and we don't need a great running back. We need a great quarterback. That's still what wins in this league. Like, Patrick Mahomes is out there doing it with Pacheco. It's like a 7th-round pick. You know what I mean? Dude, the great quarterbacks, that's what's still running the show here. Like I said,
so you want to draft a quarterback?
No, I'm hoping we have a quarterback. But the problem is he got sacked 68 times, like you said in your rant, Tooch. So I'm still more interested in fixing that and making sure that that's good to go before I'm trying to get shiny new toys.
You don't like the free agents we signed?
I do like the free agents we signed, but I still remember how the Eagles had like the dream team defense, and then what the fuck happened there? But during the offseason, it was the dream team defense, right? They put it all together. Dude, it still needs to go out there and execute, and I still need to see it. I've been a Bears fan long enough to know that. Like you said earlier, we all know these wheels can fall off the wagon at any point in fucking time, right? And so I want to try and do everything I can to ensure
you would
that
draft an offensive lineman first, top 10?
Dude, I would draft a left tackle, or I would take a defensive tackle or a defensive end, or ideally trade the fuck back. And if you really want to take best player available, I mean, I guess go ahead. I'm not going to argue with whatever they do is whatever they do. I mean, I'm just a guy on my couch. They're sitting there scouting these guys. They got all these departments going out there and looking at them, and they've done their research a lot more than I have. And I'm not going to pretend that, it's the other way around. I just have an opinion is all, but I definitely wouldn't trade up for one of those guys. Like if Genty falls to you at 10 and you take him, I mean, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? I'll feel like I did when we took Rome. I kind of felt the same way there, where it's just like, okay, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I still hope these players work out, but ideally, my preference, I'm still more interested in making sure the trenches on both sides of the ball are solid, good to go. And I think you could still take a running back in the second round. There's a handful of guys. So even if there is a little run, which doesn't usually happen, but even if it does, there's still somebody you could go out there and get. And as long as you can execute better on the field than what I've seen last year, and you have better talented offensive linemen, that even that running back will still improve our running game. And then let's work on not being last in the division. Let's work on competing in this thing. And then if, we're in the playoffs or we're a shiny new toy away or something, and you want to play around and make these moves in the future after you've proven something, I can hear that case, but I just don't agree with it right now. So,
and I disagree because I think we need blue chip players, and if you're going to get a blue chip player, you have to trade up in this draft. Not other drafts may be different. Now, you're saying you want to draft an offensive lineman top 10. There aren't any that are worth a top 10 pick. No left tackle. Kelvin Banks, he spent a lot of time on the ground. So Greg Gabriel called him a groundhog. Josh Connerly, you could probably get in the second round. Pretty good player. Josh Simmons played 6 games, got injured, coming off an injury. So there's a risk. Imagine if
I did a mock the other day where Josh Simmons fell to the second round of the second round.
That's fine. I'm okay taking him in the second round. I don't think I'd spend there's no left tackle I would spend a first round pick on this draft. Maybe Will Campbell. But think about Will Campbell is that he's probably going to end up at guard, which is fine if you want to replace it for Joe Tooney. But
I'm not super high about getting a guard at that spot. That's why this pick 10 kind of sucked. So I said, ideally, I want to try and trade out. If not, I am kind of leaning more.
Trade with, though.
I know. Ideally, I am willing. I am hoping we trade out. But if not, I'm kind of leaning more defensive end, defensive tackle. If they take a left tackle, I'm not
which
crazy about it.
But sure. Would you take top 10?
Dude, you know how these things shake out. It depends who's there. My ideal scenario is if Mason Graham does fall far enough for us to be able to trade him.
Yeah,
Mason Graham is not falling to the Bears at 10.
Well, dude, if he's at like pick 7, you could trade up for him.
Again, this is a blue chip player. Blue chip players you have to trade up for. So we're making the same argument, but just for different positions.
Polsky, here's the Tankathon's big board. Just, I like it because the graphics are nice and big. Pick a player. Give me your order of players in this draft. Hunter number 1, Carter number 2. You kind of agree with that?
Well, I mean, the order that I think they'll get taken, or the order?
No, your order.
No. The best player.
Yeah, I think I have Abdul Carter,
quarterback.
Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, then Travis Hunter, personally.
Okay, so those are your 3. Who's 4, 5, 6? And I can scroll down whenever you want me to.
Damn it! I'm not saying Ashton Genty is not a good player, but
You're saying that the running back position is too rich for this team where it is.
Dude, yeah. So, I don't think either of these quarterbacks are that good. They're going to go. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I've seen the defensive end, in a couple mocks fall a little bit from Georgia. What is it? Michael Williams. Dude, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like
Michael Williams
more
is
research.
20 years old. So he's not gonna play as much as Ashton Genty would. This is a projection too with Michael Williams. Yes, he's got measurables. Yes, he's a good player, but when he's not gonna start over Sweat or Odengbo. So you're talking about a rotational player, and he's not gonna get like full-time rotation, unless someone's injured. Now Mason Graham, also a rotational player, but will get more playing time than Michael Williams because he's better than Michael Williams. Now, if you do take Ashton Genty, he's touching the ball 20 times a game minimum, and he's impacting the game. He's making other teams game plan for him. He's helping Ben Johnson's offense go. He's helping Caleb Williams make better plays. He's helping the play action passing game. He's taking pressure off of our quarterback position. So, I mean, to me, that's why it's worth trading up for. Now, if we don't get him, we decide hold where we are at 10. I don't know who we take. You trade back, yes, okay. Let someone trade up for somebody. I don't know who's going to be interested in the number 10 spot. You may find yourself at 10 with no one to take. Let me see if I have this. Aldo.
Go ahead.
I have like a nightmare.
So
nightmare draft scenario.
Oh,
which we talked about.
What you call it going on?
Yeah, here it is. All right, hold on. So let me load this up.
Walter Nolan is a guy that's out there that I've heard a good buzz about. Both the guys from Michigan. Not only Mason Graham, but Kenneth Grant is also good too.
Walter Nolan.
Dude, all these guys are young. I mean, the thing is you said, oh, well, is Saquon Barkley going to be out there next year? No, but you know what? Wait another year or two. Bijan Robinson is. Dude, you don't re-sign these guys. They're not worth keeping around typically, and it's very few and far between that are. You can find these guys in free agency that still go out there and produce. I would not.
So they're saying we're drafting him, and then we're never signing him again 5 years. Like, dude, I don't understand how you could say that. That's like
because what running backs have been signed for their second deal on what teams? Like what? Zeke got signed, right? Ezekiel Elliott. Who else? Like what other running backs out there? Go off and get a second contract.
Michael Williams did not go to a small school, Chubbs. He went to Georgia. I don't know what he's talking about.
No, I'm just saying these guys hit free agency left and right, the running backs do. So they do not stay on the teams that draft them. The only real reason to draft a running back in the first round nowadays is just to have that fifth-year option on them if you want them there for that fifth year. But you're not keeping them past that.
So we get 5 years of Pro Bowl running back.
Maybe,
and maybe we re-sign him. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I didn't mention Mike Green, Chubbs, but I do like Mike Green. I think he's worth a top 10 pick. So here's what I'm talking about, Aldo. Nobody's there at 10. Like, who do you draft at 10? Tyler Warren's gone. Mike Green is gone. Genty's gone. Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Mason Graham. They're all gone. They're saying nobody's going to want to trade up for that spot.
And you guys don't think there's going to be a run on quarterbacks at all? You don't think Shedeur Sanders makes it in the top 10? I definitely do.
Maybe.
I definitely do. These teams get desperate. They do. Somebody's going to want a quarterback. Maybe the Giants. Maybe the Saints need one.
Okay,
you know what I mean? You never know. So
let's say the Saints, Giants, or Browns want Shedeur Sanders at 10. They're going to trade us their second-round pick and next year's first. So now we're trading out of the first round, Paulski.
No, I mean, I wouldn't trade out of the first round, but...
what are you talking about then? Because you just said Shedeur Sanders, and that's who would be trading up. Who's going to trade up for the Steelers? Maybe. So then we're trading back to 21, I think, the Steelers.
That I do.
21?
Sure. And then you can get your Omarion Hampton right there at 21, even though that's still kind of high. But
if he's still there. Because the Broncos are picking somewhere in there too. Well, the Broncos are what, 25?
Yeah, I don't know. Then you don't get him. Then you take the next guy. It's a dime a dozen fresh legs, man. I'm more interested in, the things around that guy being right, because I've seen a lot of different guys produce in this league, and they don't have to be drafted that high. I mean, even when you go last year, dude, you look at the top 10 running backs by like rushing yards. Dude, you got Kyron Williams in there, Chuba Hubbard, Bucky Irving. Like, these are all guys that were drafted, what, 4th round later?
Yep.
So you can find these guys out there.
Williams was a 2nd round pick, I think.
Oh, okay. But it's still, I'm just saying that these guys are out there, and they're out there more often than some of those other positions are. So I'd rather sit there.
But which one, then?
Like you said,
one?
especially if you're going to take 2 of them. Oh, man. Yeah, I would spend like a 2nd and a 4th round pick.
Second and
I guess 5th.
Yeah. 5th, 6th, 2nd. We don't have a 4th round pick.
We don't have a 4th. You're right. So
because we traded our 4th round pick for Ryan Bates for a few snaps with Ryan Bates.
Hey guys, let me interrupt. First of all, that graphic was from Chat Sports, Tooch, because I just want to make sure we give them credit if that's where you got that from.
The worst case scenario is from is that Chat Sports? Yeah, Chat Sports.
Yeah, that's what Carl said. So Chat Sports, thank you for the use of that graphic.
Yep.
I got actually 4 more scenarios. We probably won't get to them because we spent so much time on that really, really fascinating topic, and you guys going back and forth on that. I'm sure there's had similar talks at Hal.
I would trade up for Abdul Carter.
Yeah, but let me get to my next scenario here. And so, because I got some really good ones here, I'd love to get you guys' feedback. All right, so we know that this is not a super draft for edge players. So what happens if the Bears, because they're not happy with the options available at edge in this draft, the Bengals call and they say, hey, for Trey Hendrickson, and a 2025 6th round pick, which is the number 193 overall, the Bengals will send over Hendrickson. And wait a minute, do I have this right? No, the Bears are sending a 2nd round pick, number 39 overall, and a 2026 5th round pick. And the Bears get Hendrickson and a 2025 6th round pick, which is number 193 overall. So the question for you and Polsky is, are you willing to trade, and the chat, are you willing to trade your 2nd round pick, number 39 overall, and the 2026 5th round pick for Trey Hendrickson and a 2025 6th round pick? Polsky, why don't you lead us off?
First thing I thought of was what Antonio Esperanza commented.
Okay.
Hendrickson will want $30 million a year. So I'm not
that's
sure.
That's a big part of it. Absolutely.
I'm not sure how the finances work out, that if we could even afford it, right?
Yeah.
If you take the money out of it, say, you figure out the cap and whatever, and you can do it. And I mean, but that's a lot of money for a guy. But draft capital wise, yeah, I would make that trade if he didn't cost so damn much right now, though. But yeah, I don't know.
It is. You guys are absolutely right. Who are bringing up the money issue, and to Polsky's point is, can we even do it? The answer to that is yes, but it comes at the expense of losing other players on the roster. You get rid of somebody's salary, and then that way you could add on more to acquire Trey Hendrickson. So,
but I mean,
you guys are right.
Yeah, though, Aldo, don't you pay a defense while you have the quarterback on his rookie contract? Like, isn't that usually how teams do it?
Like the 49ers have done. Absolutely. This is the time to take great risks while you're waiting for your quarterback to develop into a Patrick Mahomes. Those first 2, 3, 4 years of his rookie contract, you can now use that money, because he's going to get $1 billion, according to chat, whatever the fuck it was. He's going to get all that money. And so now it's the time to pay big for players and take some chances. That's the argument. So what do you guys say? Tooch, what do you think?
Man, I mean, Sweat and Odengbo are both $40 million men. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's gonna demand $40 million at least, to.
Oh, I
you know,
agree.
yeah.
I totally agree.
So, I mean, he played for Dennis Allen, spent 4 years with the Saints before he signed with the Bengals. Fits the system, 6'4", 270. But, I mean, I don't know, man. It sucks. He is a double-digit sack guy nearly the past five years. He's been double-digit sacks every year except for 2022. The last 2 years, he's had 17.5 sacks,
Tooch, it is plausible to think that maybe the McCaskies and Kevin Warren have told Pauls, you better fucking win this year. In which case, he might pull the trigger on a deal like that, knowing that it's short-term success, because you may not be able to keep him much, very long.
That's the thing. That's the thing. You're trading some picks again, and he's what? When's he out of contract?
He's just got this. He's in his last year right now.
Okay, so is he a free agent? Will they tag him?
Yeah, you can tag him. Right now, Poles' philosophy is, I'm not going to pull the trade until I have a pretty good idea I can extend the contract. But he may not even want to.
Yeah,
he may not. I mean, you're not trading away a first-round pick for him, so there is that. What do you think, Polsky?
Like I said, draft capital wise, it makes sense. I mean, a second round pick.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal, draft capital wise.
Hendrickson sounds really, really, really nice. And what I'm talking about is, like, remember when we signed Julius Peppers and then we went to an NFC championship?
Yep.
And remember when we got Khalil Mack and like the 2018 Bears were good? Like, these guys make an impact. They make an impact. And dude, when you got a defensive line that's tearing it up, getting sacks, putting pressure on quarterbacks, it makes a lot of things easier for the entire team. And dude, it's important. So yeah, Trey Hendrickson's got a lot of value to me, and I would definitely entertain that, man. I would not be upset if they did something like that, for sure.
There you go.
So how we're trading for him? We're getting his contract, or is he out of contract at the moment?
I think he is on the last year of his contract.
This will be the last year, so yeah.
Correct.
We might be renting him for a season.
Exactly.
Like we did with Keenan Allen and stuff, So
exactly.
Yeah, but I think if you're spending a second round pick, it's more of like the Montez Sweat situation where you better have an idea that.
I agree with Polsky. You don't want a disgruntled player coming to Chicago and saying, I better protect my body because I have no guarantee for 2026 that I'm going to make $1.
Assuming you're trading for him, and then you're pretty soon after re-signing him to a brand new deal. A 30-year-old player, 8-year, this will be his 9th year, so 8-year veteran, 30-year-old player. I don't know. It's tempting, though.
J2K says no more 1-year rentals for a draft pick. I would agree. I mean, Poles has to have an agreement with the agent, the player's agent, that this is going to happen. All right. So that was scenario number 2. Let me jump to scenario number 3. And we got a guy that I don't know if he does for your podcast, Polsky, but a guy named TB17. He's a big Tyson Bagent fan. So I had him in mind when I came up with this one. The Steelers and Aaron Rodgers have called off their potential union. Omar Khan wants to acquire Tyson Bagent and offers the same deal that he offered for Justin Fields. Do you pull the trigger? The Bears receive a 6th-round pick in the 2026 NFL draft, which could become a 4th-round selection, depending on Bagent's playing time. Polsky, Tooch, what do you guys think? Anyone jump in?
Yeah, you make that trade.
Wow, I'm surprised so quickly in T3P and Cliff.
I actually talked about this. Me and David had already talked about this recently.
Really? Okay.
Well, yeah, because I brought it up. Okay, first of all, I want to say I do like Tyson Bagent. I am a fan.
Me too.
I like the kid's play style. I think he's very comfortable at the quarterback position. I think he does have some faults that are pretty obvious, but like there's some teams in this league that he would fit on. I could look at Brock Purdy on the 49ers. I could totally see Tyson Bagent having success on a team like the 49ers where everything around him is good to go. You know what I mean? However, based off just what the league is and how much value you get. I brought up, like, could you even ever, if you did find a trade partner, could you even ever get a third or a fourth? And David was like, no way. Like, you'd be lucky to get the sixth, probably. So, yeah, if somebody offers you a sixth that could turn into a fourth, you get the same deal you got for Justin Fields for Tyson Bagent. Yeah, I do it.
Tooch, you on board?
I mean, it's his last year, man. What are you going to do? The guy's kind of just going to waste away and walk if you could get anything for him.
Yeah, I agree with Polsky, although I also try to stick it back to Omar Khan and ask for a 5th round pick that could become a 4th.
Thank you. You're the winner, Tooch. Ask for more. I don't give a fuck if it was Justin Fields.
That motherfucker has ripped us off twice already.
Exactly. I would say to Omar, we've made 2 trades with you, with the Steelers, and we lost both of them. It's time for us to win one.
Exactly.
Throw in something extra there. Give me your daughter. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
Yeah.
I got another one.
I'd wish him the best too, man. I'd wish him.
Yeah, I mean, we just signed Case Keenum. We don't need Tyson Bagent.
Yeah.
I might even take a flyer on one of these kids later on in the draft, like undrafted free agent out there.
Now, I do agree with Antonio here that the idea of Case Keenum being the backup is a little terrifying. But Bagent is not a proven quarterback. He is proven to have potential, but we haven't seen him do anything special on the field in a regular season NFL game. We saw him do really, really good in preseason games. But come on, he's 2-2 as a starter, and in the one mop-up game, he didn't do anything to help. He missed open wide receivers. I mean, I love the guy. He's got a great personality. He works hard. I think he could potentially be a starting quarterback in the league, but it's all based on potential right now. So I pull the trigger.
I like Tyson Bagent, but man, if someone's offered me a draft pick for him, I think twice about it for sure.
Yep.
And listen, I just, J2K says, I disagree. Bagent was a great find and he's worth more on the team. Yes, I agree. But at some point, contract time comes up, and I think the value he's going to be looking for is just not going to be what we're going to be willing to pay. I mean, if you could pay him very cheap money to sit there, yeah, I'd still keep him, but it's not the case. It's just not realistic. So he's going to go somewhere. With us, right? He's going to go somewhere and be a backup somewhere. Yep. And dude, for a backup quarterback, all my expectations ever are 4 games maximum. Like, if your starting quarterback gets hurt for more than 4 games, it's fucked anyway. Like, you're hoping for a miracle. Yep. But so 4 games maximum, win me half of them. And that's what Tyson Bagent did do. So he met my expectations for what I want out of a backup. But I mean, guys, Nick Foles went on a fairy tale run, Super Bowl MVP, and then 3 years later, he's third string on the bench on the Bears. So, if you're hoping to get lucky, it just is what it is at that point. And I just hope we never have to explore the backup quarterback option anyway. So, yeah, if you could get anything for those guys, fuck it, build it up, get it.
Yeah, you gotta take some chances. All right, and so, and I'm with you guys. Everybody loves Tyson Bagent. He's a bad motherfucker in many respects and so forth. But as a quarterback, he's really not proven anything. If Ben Johnson comes in and says, "Fuck you, you're thinking about trading Ben Johnson? I'm going to kick your ass right now," I go, "Okay, all right, I'll back down. He's all yours." But other than that, I might consider the draft capital.
Yeah, like Polsky said, if Caleb Williams is injured or out for the season, the season's over.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It doesn't matter who's quarterbacking, whether it's Tyson Bagent or Case Keenum.
There are a lot of people in the chat are saying you don't trade Tyson because in the game situation, Tyson is going in. It's not going to be Keenum. And they're right. That is, you're still looking for another quarterback to replace Tyson, because I'm not saying that Case Keenum is anything other than another coach in the quarterback room. All right, I got a couple more I'd like to get through.
Who are the free agents out there for quarterback, just out of curiosity?
Right now? Well,
like if something were to, I know Aaron Rodgers is out there, and the Vikings said no.
Wouldn't that be something?
I'm just saying.
If
Caleb got injured, and,
I got to share this with you guys.
Calling on Aaron Rodgers. He agrees. And Dan McGuire goes nuts. Insane asylum.
What you got, Polsky?
I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. I was cleaning my house like a week or two ago, and just put something on Netflix, and I ran across Enigma, and it's the Aaron Rodgers documentary. It's like 3 episodes, an hour each, and I think I got through like 1.5, 2 of them.
Same here.
Oh my god! Like I always appreciated the physical talent on the field from that guy for the position, even though it was against us and it hurt so much. Like I've always appreciate what he's done personally, and just see, he is such a pussy. He takes no accountability for anything. Right now he is a full-blown drug addict. That is exactly what you're getting with that guy. He is nowhere near. I thought he had gas left in the tank. He does not have gas left in the tank.
I would be willing to suck Aaron Rodgers' dick.
Well, that's you, Danny Garden. That's not me.
It's bad. It's bad with him. He is.
I agree. I saw an episode and a half, and I felt fucking dirty. I felt like I was watching some propaganda from another political party that I won't get into.
He's just like, after football, I'm afraid, like, what else is there? I don't want to be depressed. Maybe you're depressed because you know what's after football? You're still a piece of shit brother. You're still a piece of shit son. You're still a piece of shit person. And maybe now all that's coming to light because now you don't have football to hide behind and you're depressed. So you're going to do some drugs and fucking think everything. Yeah, I'm happy now. The world's opened up to me because I did some fucking DMT. Like, dude, you're just why don't you go fucking commentate like the rest of these guys do? Get a job, fucking wear a suit every talk football like they do for 20 fucking years. If you love the goddamn game so much, I don't know, dude. You just pissed me off. I'm sorry.
He should. Well, you know what he should do? He should buy a team in Zimbabwe. Start your own football league, walk around barefoot,
real high,
that shit that you want, and spread goodwill around the world. Just do it away from cameras and microphones.
I don't think he'll play this year.
I'm beginning to believe that. Tooch. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
All right, let me get through one more here.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. So, what do you think about the idea? Let's say the Browns are. You've learned that the Browns are targeting Josh Connerly, who is a rising offensive lineman in this draft. And they're targeting him. They have the first pick of the second round. And so you want to get this guy. He plays left tackle. And the Eagles now are willing to trade to you their first round pick so that you can get Connerly, the end of the first round, and 2 5th-rounders for your second rounder and third rounder from this year. Now, remember, you have another second rounder left. So, but you're also giving up your third rounder. So you'll, in between picks, you'll go from 41 to 164, which is what they're sending in return. But you get Josh Connerly, who is a left tackle. Some people say he might have to go to guard, but he's proven that he's a durable and effective and efficient left tackle for Oregon. I'll start with you, Tooch. What do you think, bro?
I like Josh Connerly, but I'm not making that trade because there's other
who? Same thing you asked Polsky.
There's other left tackles later on in the draft that I think.
Who?
Who?
Yeah, you're talking about who would you be talking about? Come on, J2K, come to bat.
Let's see. There's a few guys I like. I mean, the kid from William and Mary is intriguing. I think his name is William Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Or Charles Grant, something like that. Charles Grant.
Yeah, from William Mary.
Mary.
Yeah,
and,
but you can't compare him to Connerly. The kid from William and Mary is a project.
I can compare him to Connerly plus those 2 draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then again, I'm not sure Connerly is going to beat out Braxton or Karan. You know. Yeah, there's Ursary is there. Another Hugh, thank you. Yep, Ursary Grant. Way later in the draft, there's that. What's his name? Carson Vinson from Alabama. Alabama State, whatever his name is. I like him, man. That guy's
I've been
got some
learning
potential.
about him the last few days. Yes.
Yep. And then I mean, there's some 7th round guys I like as well. And the left tackle from Wisconsin was pretty good. The left tackle on Florida. These guys all had like multiple snaps at left tackle. The kid from Texas Tech, the left tackle, I thought he was all right too.
But Tooch, we're talking about Sean Connery, who was great as James Bond.
He was great as James Bond. Yeah. Money penny.
What do you think, Polsky? Jump in here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to if they did this. I mean, I guess it depends what you do at pick 10 too, right? So,
he's a good player though. I do like the player. I just don't want to spend draft capital. And I mean, Donovan Jackson might be there. Arantari Ursary would be out there, and you don't have to give up the draft capital to get
right. And I hear you. And I'm always kind of going to go back to that. You know, the draft is a shit show all around, and I would rather just have more darts to throw at the dartboard and get these guys in the camp and actually see and evaluate them there and kind of know what you have, because throughout the years, like I said, there's guys left and right that go all over the draft that wind up having success in this league. So yeah, to give up this year's 3rd, right? Yeah, move up 7 spots and get back 2 really late round. I don't know. I don't really like it that much. I mean, you really have to be sold on the player. So if they are and they do it, it's not the worst trade in the world, but yeah, I'd prefer not to.
Yeah, just to answer J2K, I did use the draft chart. So in terms of the Jimmy Johnson, I actually used a newer version.
Yeah,
it actually worked out where the team we were trading with, the Eagles, benefited by about 10, 15 points because I couldn't quite figure it out. But I figured also they might want an edge because they're trading out of the first round, which takes away their ability to have that 5th-year option.
Yeah, and this is kind of the dilemma that we're having with the first round pick at number 10.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there really aren't first round left tackles in this draft.
I agree.
Will Campbell, who may end up being a guard. The edge players, aside from Mike Green and Abdul Carter, I don't know if there are first round edge players. People seem to like Jalen Walker. Danny loves him. He's ascending right now, but I don't know if he fits in Dennis Allen's system. I think he would have to play linebacker in Dennis Allen's system. He's really kind of he's an edge player that's 6'1". He's great at rushing the passer, and I don't know if he fits Dennis Allen's scheme in all. The guys later on, I mean, there's Michael Williams. Shamar Stewart is unproven. I mean, people hate Shamar Stewart. But, I mean, he got a lot of pressure. He didn't get a lot of sacks. That's the knock. So, again, it's projection there. Michael Williams is a young player. He's also unproven, has all the measurables, lit up the combine, had some production as well. And then later on, you've got guys in the 2nd round that really could be good, man, like Nick Scorton, the other guy who played opposite of Shamar. Yep. There's Jordan Birch from Oregon, who people love. Greg Gabriel loves him. There's Braden Swinson, the guy.
I like that guy.
He's excellent, man. He plays the run and the pass very well. So these are edge players you get in the 2nd round that are probably going to be just as good as the ones you get in the 1st round, except for Mike Green and Abdul Carter. And then defensive tackles in the 2nd round, there's some good ones. I mean, I honestly don't think Kenneth Grant will be there in the 2nd round. I don't think Derek Harmon will be there in the 2nd round. If there were, we'd be very fortunate. That's the thing. I like Mason Graham, but I'm not so sure that Kenneth Grant ends up being the better player in the long run. The dude's a beast.
He is a beast.
He said he was going to run a 4.840 at 340 pounds, and he ran a 4.840. Yeah. That's just unheard of. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine that? Flying down the track head first into you, Aldo?
Yeah, no.
I know.
Please.
And we would die.
And that's what makes these drafts so interesting because, all these guys, all these prospects, they're categorized by, whatever kind of value
Yeah.
you could put on things, whether it's just physical numbers or, I know they interview these guys and they try and feel out who they are as people, but the key is here, you don't want to get a guy who's topped out. You want to get a guy who's got room to grow. And what you're trying to figure out is who's got more room to grow, right? And
Right,
so
right.
that's really truly the hard part at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you don't know, because a lot of these guys wind up looking really impressive and what they've done so far up to this point. And they get to the NFL and they fall flat on their face. Man, I was told Jadeveon Clowney was so generational, and then I watched him bounce around like 4 or 5 fucking teams, right? So it happens
He didn't
a
play
lot.
that bad
And
last year, though.
yeah, I know, right? Exactly. But at the end of the day, we do have to remind ourselves that these are prospects. So yeah, I hear you. There's a lot of needs on this team still, and there's a comment from Antonio that says, "Well, I don't get Polsky." I'm sorry, from Samuel. I'm so confused that I thought Polsky wanted to solidify the offensive line. Yeah, I do. I don't want to give up draft capital to do so. I want to use the draft capital to draft players to be able to get this thing right. I don't want to sit there and make gambles like that left and right. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you want a lot of dart throws to find a player.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
What did,
I know it's boring, man. I'm just
what did Greg
a
Gabriel
boring
say
bald
about
guy
that, though?
sitting here, but
Hold on.
yeah.
Oh, is that Tooch?
If we have a bunch of guys who have potential, we don't have anybody or something like that. I
That's
forget what the saying is.
a Bill Parcells or
Bill
Belichick
Parcells, right?
quote. Yeah,
We could take a bunch of dart throws at guys who may have potential, but we may never get anybody who pans out.
right. If you make exceptions, all you're going to
all you have is exceptions.
Full of exceptions.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
you got to stick to the
And I watched
plan.
the Patriots sit there and just fit pieces in the holes.
Team of exceptions.
And just do it over and over and retool and coach these guys up, right? And then not ask them to do more than they're supposed to do and put them in right positions and have success over and over and over. I remember there was a damn year where Tom Brady had 1 first-round pick on the entire offense, and it was Nate Solder at left tackles. And the rest of them were guys outside of the first round. The whole thing was, dude, they were able to do it left and right. So that tells me that, it's very possible with the right coaching that those pieces, that potential can be unlocked. You can get stuff out of guys. You know what I mean?
You're awful, Tooch. You're awful.
The thing about trading up for a blue chip player is that when you trade up, you're getting your guy.
Yeah,
you're not getting your guy.
So you got to trust that the guy who's getting his guy is the right guy, because Ryan Poles, he traded up to get his guy, Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah. Ryan Pace.
Ryan Poles?
Ryan Pace.
Anthony Miller, right?
Yes.
Ryan Pace.
Anthony Miller. Traded up to get Leonard Floyd.
I'll never forget that draft night.
Do it. Trade up.
John Santucci was making the case of not drafting Anthony Miller.
I wanted Harold Landry.
Danny Shimon and Draft Dr. Phil are saying you're crazy. You're crazy, Tooch. Yeah. 2 of the guys that I know are pretty good at value talent. And here comes Tooch. And they're beating him down.
I don't think he'll be that good.
It's kind of saying, well, maybe you guys are right. But deep down inside, I knew what he was saying. He was saying, fuck you guys. Anthony Miller is going to be a bust. And he was right.
and Aldo and I wanted Patrick Mahomes. We wanted him at 3. We were waiting for the Bears to take Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. What do? They trade up 1 spot to get Mitchell fucking Trubisky.
Oh, I was like, man, they really like Patrick Mahomes. They're trading up to get him.
And those guys wanted Deshaun Watson, who could have been, if he didn't throw his career away, he could have been great.
Yep.
Good player, good ball player. Just bad luck and bad decisions.
The Chiefs really wanted to get Paxton Lynch.
Yes,
all the Broncos and tried to offer trades with the Broncos to move up and get him, and the Broncos denied him. And so
they took Paxton Lynch, didn't they?
No, the Broncos did, yeah.
Yeah, the Broncos took him.
And so the Chiefs just stayed put because they were going to trade up to like pick 3 or something. And they stayed put and took Chris Jones. And then the next year they wound up taking Patrick Mahomes. Yep. Sometimes you get saved from yourself in these things too, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, right. So
everybody passed on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The Patriots took a chance on him.
All right, got one more scenario. Let's get it out of the way real quick. And so this is a what-if situation. What if the Giants have drafted Travis Hunter with the 3rd overall pick of the first round. And then they want to team him up with quarterback Shadur Sanders, his partner in Colorado. They're going to offer the Bears the following. The Bears would get the 2026 Giants first round pick, the 2026 third round pick, and then the second and third picks of this year's draft, which is 34 and 65. And the Giants are getting the Bears first round pick and their seventh round pick. So in other words, the Bears are trading out of the first round this year to acquire the Giants 2026 first round pick, their third round pick from 2026, and their second and third. So that would give us 3 seconds and 2/3. What say you guys? You pulling the trigger or not?
It's tempting.
It is, right?
What is it? What number overall in the second round?
34.
34, yeah.
34, so second pick of the third of the second round.
So we're trading just out of the first round.
And then we get the Giants pick first round next year.
Correct. Which is going to be a team that's going to have a great defense.
Yeah. So
they got a great defense, but that offense is still,
it could be a high draft pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Next year's first round of the Giants, and then next year there are some left tackles who might be worth a high draft pick next year for left tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the Miami Hurricanes left tackle and the Alabama left tackle.
Tony says Archbang.
Okay, so if they did this and Connerly's there at 34 and you take him, you know what I mean? That's not so bad. Like you just mentioned with the last scenario, like if you like that guy and he's, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with J2K in this. If all the blue chips, so that's what I was going to say is like at 10, it depends on who's all gone at 10. You know?
Yeah, that's very true. I should have put that up, a scenario like that, but that's a great point.
But let's assume that all the blue chip players are gone. There's no Genty, there's no Graham, there's no Abdul Carter, there's no Will Campbell. It's very tempting. I mean, we're going to miss out probably on players like Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, Mike Green. We'll miss out on players like that, but I think
no, I do like this.
It's very tempting, especially that 2026 first round pick, man. That could be the Bears left tackle of the future.
Right. And I will say again that I did check with the draft value chart, and this sort of worked out. It's always difficult, when you are dealing for 2026 picks in the equation because they haven't been given a value yet. But you use this past year's value, and it worked out almost evenly that the Giants would get the Bears' 10th pick overall, so they could pick Sanders and then their quarterback, hopefully of the future for that franchise, and then a 7th rounder from the Bears, and the Bears would get 2026 and the first round and third round, and then 2025 second round and third round. Interesting trade scenario, no doubt. I'm glad you guys, Chicago Sports Podcast, that's a shit trade. Come on, it's not shit.
There's always one. There's always one.
Polsky, exactly. All right, guys.
I'd seriously think about that one, though.
I know, right?
Yeah, that would be worth it.
No,
you got 4 picks
in this draft.
Yeah,
because it's not a strong draft in the first round.
Right.
Like I said, there's only like 5, 6 blue chip players at the top. Then there's a bunch of question marks.
The idea of having 3 second rounders in this draft is kind of sexy. It's kind of Raquel Welch.
Yep.
And then you add 2 third rounders because you'd get that other third rounder, and you got your own. You got 5 picks in the second and third round. And in this draft, you could be adding 3-4 starters.
Yeah.
In this draft. It's not a superstar draft. It's just I keep hearing this. It's not a superstar draft. It's a starter draft.
You could get a second tier running back, which a wide receiver like Trey Harris or Jaden Higgins to play the X.
Yeah.
You could get a left tackle to compete with Karan and Braxton. You could get a guard for depth. You could get a defensive tackle.
Yep.
All of this stuff. So it's very tempting.
By the way, I'm falling in love. The more and more tape I see of Derek Harmon, I think that if you can't find a trade partner at 10 and you go through that awful draft scenario that you presented earlier, Tooch, if you're faced in a situation like that, then drafting Derek Harmon, the 10th overall pick, wouldn't be the worst thing to happen to Chicago.
I might consider Omarion Hampton at 10.
Well, that's interesting. I think what's his name from ESPN, Kuiper and Field Yates have been saying that a lot lately. Omarion Hampton. Look at that fucker.
That guy.
I hate it when they use my body on other players.
They put other people's heads on all those bodies.
Fucking Photoshop, man. I took that picture 2 weeks ago when I was down at the Bahamas.
You're about to get another $5 donation here.
That's right. Put it on my garter. But there I am. That's when I was working for the what was it? What was that strip club?
Heavenly Bodies?
No, the male dancers, the Chippendales. That's when I was working for the Chippendales. All right, we just hit the 2 hour and 10-second mark. Let's go around the horn and plug whatever we want.
What about
or whoever we want?
What you watched recently?
Oh, okay.
Because I watched the first 3 episodes of Black Mirror.
What do you think?
The first 2 episodes were really great. Affected me in different ways. Like the first episode for sure affected me. It'll probably stay with me for a long time. Because I love speculative fiction.
Yeah.
Visions of the future, science fiction, all sorts of stuff like that. And Black Mirror is really delivering this year. What's his name? The creator.
You know what?
Chris Brooker, right? Chris Brooker.
I can't say because confession time. I have not watched a single episode.
I mean, you don't have to watch all of. It's not like a series. They're all short. Each episode is a short story.
I've heard that they're like all individual short stories, like an anthology.
Each episode is an individual contained story, so you don't have to. You don't have to. You could start the season just at episode 1.
Mm-hmm. I just have not seen any episodes. You're saying I can start with season 3. It won't matter.
Season 7 now. Yeah, you can
season 7. Jesus.
Season 7, episode 1 with Rashida Jones, who's Quincy Jones' daughter. And,
that's right. I love her. I didn't realize that she was Quincy's daughter.
It's so good. So good. That's the best episode I've seen of the 3. The second one was called Bête Noire, Black Beast, and it's also pretty damn good. It's crazy. And then the third one was okay. It's interesting idea and stuff, but it was okay. It was just kind of there, and that's as far as I've gotten so far. But
well, that's cool, man. I everybody's been telling me. I'm surprised you haven't seen it. All those right up your alley.
The one with Rashida Jones, you really have to see. It's like it makes you question things about mortality, your life, decisions, modern times, and the subscription services that happen. I don't want to give it away, but like
that sounds good.
The upsale and the subscription services. But you definitely have to watch. I forget the name of it's called Common People.
Yeah.
That
episode is Common People.
Common People. Yep.
I love anthologies. I watch a lot of Law and Order episodes only because you don't need to know what happened last episode or last season. It's just find the guy that did the crime, and it's all over. It's good mindless entertainment while I'm doing my graphics and stuff. Polsky, given that you are an official filmmaker with your work eligible for an Academy Award, what do you like watching? And can you recommend something for our audience?
So I do have a 2-year-old, so there's been a lot of Pixar lately and different languages.
What about the Wild Robot? Have you shared that with your 2-year-old?
No, I haven't. We've been watching Leo lately. But at least it's Adam Sandler and Bill Burr. So at least I hear the voices, and it's like, okay. I know those guys. I like those guys, Me and my wife just got through The Bear. We just got through the
season 3.
Great series.
I love it. Yeah, I grew up working in restaurants, so it kind of brings me back. My wife is Italian, so she kind of has that little attachment to it. And
the
yeah,
episode
it's
where Richie was stodging at this fancy restaurant. That was classic. Yeah, it was season 2, I think, right?
yeah,
Richie learns like the
Weak.
true,
They
how
just
hard
needed a
it is.
montage.
Yeah,
They needed a montage.
yeah.
But yeah, I actually back in the day when like Shameless was out in like the first or second season, I ran into Jeremy Allen White at a bar. Had a couple shots with him. Yeah, me and my friends did. So like I remember a couple of the girls were like starstruck, and I didn't know who the guy was because I didn't watch Shameless. So yeah, it was a nice guy. So it's kind of cool still watching him. But yeah, I got through that, and then on deck we have the new season of 1923.
Yep.
We kind of retouched on the old one, and we're about to start season 2. And my buddy David keeps telling me I got to watch Ted Lasso.
Oh,
so
great.
I have that ready to go.
good.
And yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but
Fantastic
I'm
series.
interested in watching Ted Lasso. So
Did
I
all
think
of
I
them
got
watch Ted
3
Lasso?
seasons.
I saw the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Is the new one's going to be 3 or 4?
It's got to be 4 because I think I missed the season.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hear that the new season he's coaching a different team. It's not the soccer team. He's coaching an all-girls team in some sport, is what I heard, that the next season is going to be. So I don't know if it's 3, 4, or 5 because I don't keep up with it.
It was a brilliant series. Absolutely brilliant.
And he is such a talent,
So talented, Jason Sudeikis. Yep.
Jason Sudeikis, the guy that was in The Office, was going on to direct films and be in major motion pictures. Do you remember his name? You guys are Office fans?
John Krasinski.
Yeah, that's him. He's another talent. Bill Hader from Saturday Night Live.
Yep, Bill Hader,
who did the Showtime show.
The Last Man on Earth, right? Was that him? No, was that Will Forte? That was Will Forte.
That was, I think, Will Forte.
Also talented, though.
What was the show with Henry Winkler and Barry?
Barry.
Barry. Did you guys see Barry?
Yeah. That's the Hitman, where he's a hitman.
Yes.
What?
Oh my gosh,
that's Bill Hader. Yeah, Bill Hader.
Bill Hader. He's a fucking filmmaker. There's this one episode where the character gets on a motorcycle and there's like a 5-6 minute chase scene. And the camera is like point of view of the motorcycle for most of it, but also, side views. And it's just, I was on this guy is the guy from Saturday Night Live is directing this. This is as good as Scorsese or anybody like that. Really, really good stuff on Barry. Those 3 guys are like actors that I would never have thought in my life that they would have gone on to be great directors, but there they are.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayhem points out that Mobland with Tom Hardy.
The first episode, thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I keep hearing great things about it.
Yep.
Does Helen Mirren still look good?
Yeah, I mean, she's 80 years old, 79.
I'd fuck her.
Yeah, she's for 79, she looks fantastic.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yep. I really think you should watch that Black Mirror, at least 1 or 2.
I will. I promise you I will. And then my recommendation is The Pit, which is on Max, and it's basically
Noah Wiley.
Yeah, Noah Wiley. And so did you hear the story behind it? He was in collaboration or trying to work out a deal to bring back ER. Okay. And he was dealing with the Michael Crichton estate, and they wanted too much money, and so the negotiations fell off. So he started talking to these people from The Pit, and they made that series. And now the Crichton estate is suing him, saying it's too fucking similar. What are you doing? This was our idea. We're going to continue this. And he is replying, bullshit. This is taking place within 24 hours. Each episode is
24 hours. Yep.
is an hour of that 24-hour day. And so it's on the courts now. But the show is really, really good.
My wife and I started watching it, and my wife was like, I can't watch this. It's like being at work. She's like, she's a nurse, so it's like I want to get away from work,
Yeah. Oh man,
I really like it because I don't know, I'm it's not my world, so
yeah,
a view into another world for me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. There was a scene where an elderly gentleman is taking his last gasp of life, and I look over at my wife, and she's fucking bawling. and her dad died that way. We were in the room when he was just gasping.
I
for
just
those
lost my mom, so I felt the same way.
So I asked her,
Sorry,
"Do you
guys.
want me to fast forward?" And we fast forwarded past that scene because it's heavy duty shit, man. It really is. Yeah, for especially us guys who've lost somebody recently.
Yep. Yeah, I have been the same since I lost my mom, to be honest. I'm doing my taxes at the last fucking minute.
Your mom would have been calling
Literally,
you a week ago.
Yeah. There's so many other stuff going on. I have to do like training on People Magazine. I'm training on 2 other. They want me to learn every position. So I have to learn all the positions.
Pay me for all the positions.
I'm training for 3 different positions at the same time. I told my boss, has anybody ever trained for 3 positions at the same time and done their regular job?
That's
that's
unbelievable.
Yeah, I was like I got a little salty, but not enough to.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
don't blame you. Jeez.
That was says, we believe in you. You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
These are great managers you report to. It's like a coach who knows that they're underpaying you.
Right.
They're still going to get $10 million.
I'm on a rookie contract, but I'm not a rookie.
Hey, Paul, what is it that you do for a living? If you don't mind me asking.
I work for the state for the tollway.
Oh, is that right? Are you in one of the booths?
No. So they don't do the booths anymore. Everything is cashless, and I don't just count quarters, unfortunately.
What is it you do?
So I control the cameras on the tollways.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and whenever there is stalls, accidents, crashes, debris. I tell people when it comes to debris on the road, I could start small and go big of the shit I've seen on camera on the road. A chain, a screwdriver, a hammer, a shovel. I could keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we go. I've seen, hold on, a shovel, like a luggage. Okay. I've seen a big box. I've seen a fucking treadmill. I've seen a refrigerator. I've seen couches. I've seen fucking steel beams that fell off semi. So it's just, dude, the amount of shit that happens out there on those roads. So like when people report stuff,
Tooch is anxious to hear if you've seen any sex toys on 355.
Probably.
Yeah,
probably.
There's no doubt.
A lot of shit gets thrown out of a car when it rolls over. So you never know.
Is it like for tolls?
Oh my god! The one guy called in, said he is traveling from fucking Ohio all the way to Missouri, and he's in Wisconsin right now, and he was towing a boat that's missing, and he has no idea where it is.
Oh my god!
Are you kidding me? You lost a boat and you have no idea when you even lost it? Do you stop for fucking gas? Do you check your mirrors? How are you towing a boat and you have no idea when and where you lost? Like some of the stupidest fucking calls. So yes, boats have been left in the road. I've seen that a couple times.
Holy shit.
Yeah, all sorts of shit. So watch fucking cars set on fire and stuff, and
Jesus.
Anything and everything. So it's kind of crazy, and I try and find that stuff on camera so that whoever's responding to it has actual information they could get there as fast as they can. It's interesting.
Well, amongst the hilarity, we've had a number of people express that they've lost somebody dear to them, and when it happens around Easter, it makes it even more difficult to deal with. So our hearts are out to Casey and everyone else who has lost somebody recently, or really,
for sure,
anyone. You've lost anyone at any time that is still weighing heavy in your heart. I lost my mom. It's been almost 2 years now, and I still haven't come to that. I need to see a therapist, help me work my way through some of that stuff, because she and I had such a complicated relationship. So bury my soul. Guys, let's wrap things up and plug whatever you want, whoever you want. I would prefer to plug a blonde 44T right now, but that's not going to happen. So, Tooch, what do you want to do?
Next week is NFL draft week at the Barroom. It's the hardest. It's the week where we work the hardest at the Barroom. Wouldn't you say?
It really is.
Every year.
Yes.
So,
yes.
there's going to be shows all draft week, and all the personalities will be appearing on various shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to pop in on a few. And Aldo, every year usually has a sign up sheet for the days of the draft.
Yeah, I'm going to send that out tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
For sign up for the days, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday after the draft will be the Barfight Tailgate Draft Recap.
Nice.
Which is the 27th.
A can't miss show.
Yep. And then let's see. Bare Their Souls next Tuesday will be right the eve of the draft, basically.
That's right. I've reached out to a couple of special guests. I'm waiting for word from the ESPN publicist. So hopefully she'll come through for us because we'll have a special guest. I won't name a name now, I don't want to jinx it, but next Tuesday could be a very special Bare Their Souls. And tomorrow, Danny Shimon is going to be interviewing PJ Acosta, who has written about the draft for a number of websites. So that's going to be fun. Balski, what do you got going on?
Whole lot of nothing up until the draft, pretty much. Content wise, just we've been sitting still. Like I said, this is our downtime. We kind of just we don't push out content too hard when there's nothing new. So I've just kind of coasted it for the next week or two or so. But then, as soon as the draft hits, I'll be making videos of whoever we got and trying to look up some highlights and things like that. And then the off season's coming, so there'll be plenty of training camp videos and whatnot on the channel at youtube.com/@Bearskifilm. But honestly, man, I'm just trying to clean out my garage, trying to sell shit.
Don't remind me,
dude. It's terrible. I got
mine out too.
Got flooring. You guys any of you guys need flooring? Some
I know.
Flooring I'm trying to get rid of.
This time last year we moved into the house, and I still have a lot of stuff from the move is in my garage.
Still?
Yeah. No.
Still.
It's like it's never ending. And you guys were talking about losing someone. My wife's aunt's very sick right now. Her brother just flew in. He actually came in tonight while we were doing the show. So I'm gonna go say what's up to him. But he flew in for that reason. But on the opposite of the end of things, I was able to get my great grandma to move back from Poland and come live with us. So she came like a week ago. I mean, not my great grandma, my grandma, which is my daughter's great grandma. So that's kind of cool that she's gonna have memories.
I would love to visit Poland, man. Like Warsaw and Krakow look beautiful.
We just went in September again, but I try and go back every couple of years at least.
Polish,
beautiful. Yeah, I'm from Warsaw.
Polish food and Polish beer is awesome.
Yeah.
Polish girls. What are you talking
Polish girls.
Everything. It's fun.
Married.
It's a nice country, so it's good stuff. It's funny. I went over there and we did a tour of Warsaw, right? So, a guide picks you up and whatever, and it's a group of people and they're all from different countries. So, at some point during the tour, he stops and he's like, asks people, "Oh, where are you from? Japan, Germany, this and that." You had somebody from Arizona or some shit, this and that. And I'm just kind of hanging out in the back. And I don't know, a couple stops in, he finally gets to us and he's like, "Where are you guys from?" My wife's like, "Chicago." And I'm like, "Well, I'm from here." And he's like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was born in Warsaw." And so on the walk to the next destination, he kind of dropped back in line and he's like, "But do you speak Polish?" I'm like, "Yeah, I speak Polish." And he asked me to say something in Polish. I said something in Polish. The guy's jaw dropped and he's like, "Listen, I've gone to school for years." He's like, "I still can't get rid of my fucking accent." He's like, he's like, "To you, it's effortless. You just speak Polish, speak English, and this and that." So I'm lucky enough not to have an accent, but it's funny when I go back there, all the Polish starts coming back to me. My wife says I sleep talk in Polish still, so still wired.
If you're in Warsaw and you tell someone you're from Chicago, you're kind of like telling them you're from Poland anyways, because Chicago's got the largest population of Polish people outside of Poland.
That's right.
Pretty much.
That's right.
So,
by the way, Jimmy Santelli is asking, where is Dan? And so I told him that Dan is in jail for public masturbation. At least
What?
that's what Tooch told me. Tooch told me that's no, it's not true. Dan Dwyer is taking some time away as he's dealing with his new work schedule. So hopefully we'll have him back sometime to the Bears season.
I would be willing to suck Aaron Rodgers' dick.
That's part of the problem too. But Jimmy, I was just kidding with that. He's fine. He's not in jail. He's working his ass off.
Schedule. Yep.
Yeah, and he's happily married, so things are okay. All right.
Yeah, I
you
feel
guys,
for that one.
you guys want to pull the plug, or you want to talk a little while longer?
Well, one last thing. I was like, whatever the Bears do, I'm behind whatever player they pick.
Yeah, I'm too.
You know, like if they decide to go with Ashton Jonty, I'm excited as fuck because I'm gonna watch the Bears put points up. They only put up 18.2 points per game last year, so I'm super excited. If they trade up for Mason Graham, I'm gonna be excited. If they trade up for Abdul Carter, I'm gonna be excited. If we trade back and we get Omarion Hampton or Caleb Johnson, the offense is gonna still do pretty darn good, you know. So I'd like to see them get the horsepower for Ben Johnson's offense, though. That's the main goal.
Yeah, you know, I feel like you do, Tooch. You know, I'm going to be fine with whatever they do because I want to trust Ben Johnson. Yes, it's going to be, and the entire draft I think is going to be exciting because are we really sure Cam Ward is going number 1 overall? You know, I would say it's 75%, not 100%.
Yeah.
Where does Sanders go? Where does Genty? So there's so many questions. This is going to be a very dramatic draft.
First,
it's going to be a fun one.
I'm 50 years a Bears fan, so I'm nostalgic at this point for a Peyton or a Sayers or a Forte.
Same here.
And that's why I want the superstar running back again. I want the Bears, to put another running back in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I would be most excited if they got the running back, blue chip player. If they get another running back, I'm going to cheer behind him and hope he gets into the Hall of Fame as well. But man, if the Bears too take Ashton Jonty that first long touchdown run, you're going to forget all about the fact that we drafted him or traded up for him or however we got him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Paul, you see the comment from Jimmy on the screen. I'd love for you to address it. Let me read it off of the audio podcast. Jimmy says, we need to discuss the importance of Genty. Exclamation, 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 exclamation. What if Jim Finks thinks that we got too many holes for Walter Payton and he doesn't take Payton? What say you?
I would say that was a different league a long, long time ago. Back then, it was definitely worth taking running backs up high at the top of the draft because they were workhorses and they did lead teams. And this is not what today's NFL is, unfortunately. Like, we haven't seen Walter since Walter. I mean, the closest thing we've had has been Adrian Peterson, and that guy was a monster. And sure, I'd love to have players like that on my team. However, it's just when it comes to production and the way things worked in my preference, and like you said, I'm going to be excited no matter what they do, right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't want them to trade. I like if they pick the guy at 10. I'll live with it. I'm still going to Bears games and still being a Bears fan. It's not going to stop.
There's so many fans that won't like it though. We drafted him at 10. No.
I
Damn
still
it.
don't.
Then next year when he's rushing for 100, 150 yards a game, you're gonna still hate it.
No. See, that's where I'm different. Like, I don't know. I kind of like. I still don't like the Rome pick. I still don't like the idea.
I wanted Brian Thomas Jr. That was my guy.
There you go. And you could have gotten him later. You could have dropped back in there, gotten pick of the litter at any defensive player because one didn't get taken in like 15, 16, and still gotten a good wide receiver. Like you could, do a lot of things, but drafting a wide receiver 3 at pick 10, wanting to trade up to pick 9, to me, that's, it's not what I prefer, but I knew that's a pick for the future. And like we're going to be leaning on Rome a lot more coming up in the future. We're already seeing it. Like he's gonna have to take that role and earn that value. And same thing. It's not that I don't want these guys, but whatever they do,
One
it
will be
will
all
be
right.
exciting. Yeah, I just think
don't know if
the
he's
production
a wide
gotta
receiver
get
one.
behind him that aren't too much different. But yeah, man, of course it's gonna be good to get some fresh players in here and try and get this thing going the right way.
My thing is, I'm not so sure that running back isn't undergoing. I mean, to me, that it's undergoing a resurgence, a renaissance, especially if
It is.
if offensive play callers of the caliber of Ben Johnson are going to start appearing more and influencing the game like Ben Johnson has with the Lions, then I think we're on the right path for running backs to experience a renaissance.
Yeah, the thing about the running back position and Ben Johnson is that he has a proven track record of utilizing the running backs to really be the engine, as you used that word, Tooch for Genty, to being the engine to the whole team's offense, and that it then presents itself greater opportunities for the tight ends like Sam Laporta / Cole Kmet, for the slot receiver who there's multiple options on who's going to be the slot guy on the majority of the plays for the Bears. And so the whole idea of drafting a running back that high for the Chicago Bears is really intriguing because
it doesn't bother me,
Ben Johnson's record. Yeah,
that's the whole. I mean, we have wide receivers that can play outside or inside.
Mm-hmm.
All our top 3 wide receivers can play inside and outside.
Yep.
And then we have the quarterback who's going to drive that car. We have the play caller. We just don't have the running back.
Right.
The running back that we have is the one that the head coach traded away.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Balski, you get the final word on this topic.
Yeah, I mean, so I look at the last year's best 2 running backs, and they were both guys that went in free agency. You know what I mean? Guys that are now on their second team. So if you really want that, there's other ways to get that.
But I mean, the Giants sucked. There's no way he was resigning with his team. They were rebuilding. There's no way he was going to.
He wanted to. If you watched Hard Knocks, he told the GM Schoen, I want to play there. And it was the Giants that didn't make the offer to Barkley. And the owner was walking into the office. I'd hate to see him go to another division. I hope that doesn't happen.
I went into the same division.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, the Giants are dumb, I mean.
Yeah, that's a badly run team. It really is. At least
to be honest, he went and got a ring.
Yeah.
That's
right.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's the best example,
but it's the most recent example, but it's not one that happens very often, if at all. So it's hard because I knew that my philosophy kind of took a hit this year because the most recent example of it has kind of worked out the other way, But I'm telling you, it's still
Derrick Henry went to the Ravens and made it to the AFC Championship.
Yeah,
and so. Okay, so then
or not the AFC
asking people this
second round.
Say you're in the Super Bowl. One player has to be injured. Who would you rather keep, Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley?
Oh, who's the backup? Who's the backup over there?
On the Eagles?
Man. I forgot who it was.
The thing, you really need both. I think back to the Cowboys and their Jimmy Johnson heyday or Barry Switzer, whenever they had the triumvirate. They had the quarterback in Aikman, running back in Emmitt Smith, and they had the top dog wide receiver Michael Irvin. That's you need that triumvirate of one, the quarterback, the running back, and the receiver. And that's what the Eagles had.
I understand, and it's just a hypothetical question, and just to make a point, if you had to pick one though.
Tanner,
would you rather have your backup quarterback or your backup running back?
Well, you can't. The quarterback's the most important position in sports.
Right. But when we're talking about drafting, Jalen Hurts got drafted in the second round. But Saquon Barkley is the second overall pick. Saquon Barkley was on the Giants, and as long as Daniel Jones is the quarterback, you're fucked. Right? So at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. It's still the quarterback-driven league. And these guys, they help a lot. They help the quarterbacks be able to grow and groom and get better and things like that. But I mean,
Thank God we have it.
I'm watching Patrick Mahomes do it with a 7th round pick running back, right? So I for years I watched what the Patriots did, and I actually love this approach, just running back by committee and just situational
running
football.
backs don't
And
change
you had
the game.
Right, but you had a
That's my
certain
point.
running back that will get 4 touchdowns in one night. Why? Because the weather sucks and you're our biggest fucking back. So there's going to be a lot of short. So like they would put guys in depending on matchups and things like that. And I kind of like that idea too. But you saw the Giants
get running backs anywhere that are just guys. The ones that change the outcome of a game are rare.
Few
that's why I trade up for this one.
I guess, but like. I don't know. Like I said, the top 2 guys this year were both available in free agency. So I kind of just go back to that then. So it's like I would rather just.
Okay, so who would you take in free agency this year?
I don't know. I'm not even.
There isn't one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. There isn't one. So
this is a different year, and the situation is different.
So you're telling me Bijan Robinson won't be available at some point?
I qualified it as this draft this year. That's why I make the trade up for Ashton Genty.
Yeah, and I still don't see situations where these guys carrying the workload, like even Derrick Henry, what he did with the Titans being just the main focus point there. And I would say doing it successfully, in my opinion, still really got him nowhere.
How old is Derrick Henry, by the way?
He's, I don't know.
He's nearing the end of his career.
He is, yeah. He's starting to get, but he's 31. And when these guys fall off a cliff, they do fall off a cliff.
He's a rare specimen.
Well, but that's what you're talking about. You're telling me there aren't these many rare specimens. But even when they are, and even when you get one, like it's still nice.
LaDainian Tomlinson and Derrick Henry, they both had less college production than Ashton Genty. So I have the stats to back up my claim that this kid could be special.
I'm not trying to fight the fact that the kid's talented. You know what I mean? Like that's the hard part is I'm not trying to downplay who he is in this situation.
And I wouldn't mind it too if we had both Ohio State running backs. That would be fantastic too.
Right, dude. Of course, you want playmakers and you want guys to have success. And at that point, as long as you get the ultimate success, you don't even care what you pay for him in the end of the day. But like, dude, Bijan Robinson is talented, but where has that really gotten the Falcons?
Well, it's the Falcons.
Well, right, but still, the situation's very
recent. They didn't have a quarterback.
Very similar. Like, he's still right, and so I see that 68 sacks, man, and I don't know. I think there's a lot to fix.
68 sacks we addressed with 3 new interior linemen. And it'll be Caleb's second year now. He's got 1 year of experience. What worries me is the detachment from the team in this offseason. As I said, Bears State of Affairs, the Esquire cover, and by all accounts, Ian Rappaport just came out and said that Caleb Williams is going to hate playing for Ben Johnson because he's so demanding. So that's another worrisome part of it. We have to make it as easy as we can on Caleb Williams this season, and that means building a strong running game. That's why I maintain that the most important part of this draft is getting a running back or 2.
Yeah, I still go back to the more conservative, conventional approach of defensive pressure. I think that makes more of an impact on the game.
We have to trade up for that too.
Right.
Because otherwise it's speculation.
Dude, it's all speculation. That's the thing about this. It's all just opinion and speculation and just preference and whatnot. And it is what it is. So, like I said, do I hate it? No. I kind of would hate drafting up for him. So I don't want to do that.
I trade up for one of those 3 players.
If we're at 10 and we get them, like, okay.
Abdul Carter, Ashton Genty, or Mason Graham. I try to trade up for one of those 3 guys that I think will be a blue chip player. Not in that order, though. I think the guy I would most trade up for is either Carter or Genty, and then I would think about Graham as well, depending on if those 2 guys are gone.
Yeah,
but there is no offensive lineman worth a top 10 pick, in my opinion.
You got to see
Campbell, maybe.
You got to see how it shakes out too. You know what I mean? The closer it gets, these teams.
If Will Campbell's there at 10, I probably take him just because he fills 2 needs at guard or tackle.
You could, but then. On the other hand, when you look at, like you said, you've made plenty of additions out of the offensive line through free agency, right? And you still have Braxton here for another year. His injury concern is kind of high because he was injured last year, so you don't know if he's going to make it. But
this is his last year.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, like, so you could still Band-Aid it one more year, like, and think maybe I'll go defense and kind of go that route or whatever. But if we take Will Campbell, I'm not, that'd be fine with me for sure.
Yeah, because one, the team probably thinks that Kieran Amagaji is the future at the position, and two, Braxton Jones, you're not paying $15 to $20 million for the guy, so this is his last year. For sure. Kieran Amagaji, I like what I've seen so far. I know it was not fair that he was thrown into the fire without having a training camp, so he looks bad. Greg Gabriel will tell you otherwise, that he's got a lot of traits. And go back and watch the Commanders game. I mean, there were some he gave up some pressures too, but there were some times where he really looked good stonewalling the Commanders pass rush. And we should have won the game, but our head coach was a dumbass. And he gave the Commanders 15 yards at the end of the game. He didn't call a timeout. He lost the team in that game. I mean, Caleb Williams even says so in the Esquire article too, Aldo, that Caleb Williams was upset at Matt Eberflus. A lot of the players were upset at Matt Eberflus during and after the Commanders game.
Oh, dude, I was shocked that the year before, after the Broncos collapsed in like week 4, that these guys still playing for them. So, like, they dragged this thing out to the very last moment where it finally, you know what, this is done. Like, it's just done. We saw it, and that's the thing. I think we all know that this team's record isn't necessarily reflecting a lack of talent. It's reflecting more of a lack of effort that we saw this year. So
go back and watch some of his stuff. The Commanders game. I think you'll be a little bit feel a little bit better about Kieran Amagaji.
Right.
But, I think if the Bears are going to do something about the left tackle position, sort of as a hedge against Braxton Jones' injury or Kieran Amagaji's inability to play the position, it'll be in the later rounds, second or third day.
Yeah, typically
it's not a good draft.
Guards and centers later, but those tackles tend to kind of stay high.
I think there's some great guards that'll be available in the 7th round.
Right.
We got one here in Iowa, Connor Colby, that played like 3-4 years at guard, like over 3,000 snaps. Pretty damn good player.
We just signed Joe Tooney. He was a 6th-round pick.
Yep, Joe Tooney, 6th-round pick. You can find guards anywhere. There's only one Quentin Nelson, though, Aldo. Did someone join us?
Damn right, there's only one Quentin Nelson.
I thought I heard someone joining us. The beep.
That was me, my backup camera. We had a poll. I had a poll running to see who who in the chat was winning the debate there, and it came out 50-50.
Wow, nice.
Isn't that something?
It is something. Look at that.
Yeah. Not bad.
You guys both did a great job of presenting the case, and that's why this draft is going to be so fascinating. And, every team has its own story. But I truly believe the Bears have one of the more compelling stories in the NFL this year. The one thing to ask both of you guys, a lot of people now are picking the Bears to be that surprise team to go from last to first. Do you like it when people say stuff like that, or does it make you nervous, Tooch?
Yeah, it's too much pressure for our team.
Yeah,
our team has not handled this sort of stuff well in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't rule out the possibility of the Bears sitting at 10 and they're not able to trade with anybody, and they take Omarion Hampton. Don't be surprised.
I love the guy, man, but I would love to get him like in the 20th pick of the first round as opposed to the 10th.
Yep. But Ben Johnson will be in the draft room this year.
Greg Gabriel thinks that this is going to be a good year to actually, for the Bears to trade down. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think, like in that nightmare scenario, they have no choice to trade down as long as somebody's willing to trade up.
That's the thing.
Yep. And then
J2K has been saying it for a while that he doesn't think a lot of teams want to trade up. But correct me if I'm wrong, J2K, but I just feel like I'm not sure, man.
If you get
I'm
some
not sure
extra
it's
second, I'm liking that scenario you gave me with the extra picks in the second and third rounds.
Yeah, that was pretty
You
cool.
know, I would love to get a player like Trey Harris on as an extra wide receiver that can break a game open with a home run. You know, Kyle Williams maybe later.
What do you think about Trey Harris's partner, Deontay
Antoine Wells?
No, isn't it Deontay Thornton?
Oh, he's on Tennessee. Wells is the partner on Mississippi, who's also fairly decent.
Okay.
Dante Thornton is intriguing, but he hasn't done a lot. But man, a 25 yards per catch average is something that makes you go, You know, maybe if with the Antoine Randall L makes something out of him, that could be deadly.
Yeah.
Ran a 4.340.
Yep. We're going to have a report on Thornton from Danny Shimon tomorrow. I asked Danny to come up with a few gems for day 3 of the draft, guys that we drafted in rounds 4 to 7. He came up with 9 names, and Dante Thornton was one of them, and 8 other guys, and we're going to present that tomorrow.
So this is 4 through 7 rounds?
Yeah, we're not going to do a mock draft. It's just 9 players that he's identified. Yes, 4 through 7
rounds. 4 through 7? Okay.
Yeah, Saturday's portion of the draft.
Interesting.
Yeah, because as he says, that's where you could really turn a draft into an A+. If you find those gems, you know. Of course, the greatest gem of all time on day 3 was Tom Brady, right?
Don't forget that Ryan Poles has drafted 2 punters on those days. Am I right?
Yeah,
seventh round pick. He doubled down on punter.
Yes, he did. So hopefully, Ben Johnson will have a greater influence.
Trenton Gill in the 7th and Torrey Taylor in the 4th.
Yeah, no, and Cliff is reminding us not to take Isaiah Bond.
Place kicker on this draft.
Yeah, this year it's a place kicker. Last year it was a punter.
Guys, before I go, because I think we're going to wrap this up soon. I got a little hypothetical situation I want to throw you guys' way, right?
Bring it on.
This didn't happen recently. It happened a little while ago, but still, it just kind of popped in my head for some reason because it was just the most awkward fucking thing. So, me and my wife, we decide to try a new recipe. I forgot exactly what it was, but we said, hey, we're going to make so-and-so. Here's the grocery list. Here's what you need to get. You know what I mean? So I'm in the grocery store and I'm walking around with the cart, getting all the items, and I need to get beef stock. And I go to the beef stock aisle and there's a elderly woman who's fallen, slipped, and cracked her head.
Oh, no.
There's a guy that's like got her head up on his knee with a towel, another lady that's like trying to comfort her. Oh, the paramedics are on the way, this and that. The store manager's there, like looking. I'm just looking, and it's like vegetable stock, chicken stock. And right where the fucking old lady is above her is the goddamn beef stock.
Oh no!
I'm watching the paramedics pull in. I mean, I work with traffic. This whole fucking aisle is about to be shut down for who knows how. What do you do?
Go to another grocery store.
I contemplated it. I seriously thought about it. But then my wife's gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing shopping for groceries for an hour?" Bullshit.
Where were you?
What kind of shit are you coming up with?
Scrolls wants to know, why didn't you help the old lady?
She was already being tended to. That's the thing. It's like there's already a guy there, and there's already somebody consoling her, and the store manager's there, the paramedics. Everything's been done. It's a great story, but it's fucking true though. It happened to me. I'll tell you guys right now. Excuse me. Fucking reached over. Are you okay? All right, bye.
Get in there. Is she okay? Oh my god.
But
oh
I'm
my god. Is she okay? Let me just grab this.
Right? Like that is the test. I failed. I'm going to hell.
No, I don't know, man. It's kind of. If you went in there, go, oh my god, is she okay? And just kind of grabbed one without noticing it.
The most bullshit. Okay, hey, all right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is
Got
funny.
a little George Costanza in him.
That's right.
And then I'm thinking like, okay, well, could I replace the beef stock with vegetable stock? And then the answer is I don't know because I've never tried this fucking recipe before.
No, you can't.
It's not like I make this all the time.
I've tried it
it's
before.
Like, no, I need the.
You have to. No, it doesn't work.
Everything lined up in the worst way, man. It just
doesn't work.
I just froze. I froze up there for a second. Like
you
God
keep
damn.
that like beef stock powder in the pantry from now on.
There you go. There you go.
I guess, yeah, just ready to go. I mean,
just go to the Mexican shop down the road. They got it.
There's like a paste too. That's like beef stock. You take the paste and dissolve it in hot water.
Yeah, I mean, probably all in the same general section though, Tooch.
No, I mean,
problem.
You got to get it now, and then so that you don't run into the same situation.
Right.
For all the listeners out there, keep it in your pantry.
Our fellow associate, Cliff Victoria, says, Peter, Paul, there's better than bouillon on the that's better.
Yes, but when making a new recipe, I don't know what I can sit there and substitute for what. And beef stock seems like a pretty base important ingredient.
I would say.
So
I did sweet and sour cabbage
food,
soup, which is like a Polish-Russian recipe.
That sounds
sweet
good.
and sour cabbage soup. So, and I used vegetable stock the first time, and it wasn't good. You had to get. I missed out. It had to be beef stock for sweet and sour cabbage.
Yeah, it's essential. Right. Yeah.
Any other recipe tips, Cliff, or anyone else to chat before we sign off? That's a great story. That's a true
the meal was good, but like at what cost? Like, just
if you read
my morals,
or learn that the lady has died, then you'll have to talk to your priest about that, I guess. Skull says Polsky puts beef stock over the old lady. It's very disappointing.
Skulls, he tells it like it is.
Dude, and I said I would sacrifice Virginia for a Super Bowl, and here we are. So
there you go. That's the whole purpose of this. If we bear ourselves enough, that the football gods will finally grant us the Super Bowl we have long deserved. We're gotta sacrifice something, even if it is our credibility or integrity or whatever it is. Fun show, guys.
Keeping it real, man.
Yeah. Polsky, let people know about your channel, where they can subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah, youtube.com/@Bearskifilm. Go check it out. Tons of videos, podcasts. I do press conference videos where I just still put highlights over them. So if you want to listen to the press conferences, but still have something to watch, those are on there. And hype videos, highlight videos, and all the above. So youtube.com/@Bearskifilm. And check it out. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you for being here on short notice. Tooch, let people know, because it's not right for you to win all the money and keep it to yourself. Let people know where they can get a tip from you or what have you. Because this guy's won $1,800 in the last few days.
Yeah.
No, don't say that. It's say your insider information. Don't say you've been lucky.
Well, I mean, I wasn't really like betting normally like I bet like straight betting. Where I'm betting like putting a unit or 2 or 3 or 4 units on the one single play.
Okay.
I've just been I'm picking 10 guys to hit home runs, and round robins, like 3 different round robins,
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens that I think 9 out of the 10 guys homered tonight. So I just got lucky,
Nice.
It was I was hoping to maybe, break, not because I always kind of if I'll play them single like $5, then round robin like $5, and then parlay or a singles like $10.
Mm-hmm.
So at least you cover your ass, so the bet's whatever, $20-$30, and you make if 1 or 2 guys homers, you get all your money back or whatever,
Did you do any betting on the Masters on Sunday?
I bet one day for the second round, Scotty Scheffler to under 70.5. The fucking guy bogeys the last hole to get a 71. I lost by the hook.
Fucking Scheffler.
So, yeah, I know. I like the best golfer in the world, and I fucked up. But
I like
Yeah,
to
I
bet
totally bet
on, who will have a top 10 finish.
Oh,
I usually
yeah.
do very well
top
with
10 or
those.
top 20. I like. Yep. And
Yeah, exactly.
I took a long shot on one winner, like he wasn't even close. Like $5-10 on a guy that's like 40-1.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the home runs and the pitcher strikeouts today were I killed it today. Just
Congratulations.
accidentally though. I mean, I researched each one and stuff, but I did.
It helps to have a little luck on your side. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Yep. The past 3 days, man.
Yeah.
I
Make
made
sure you're following John Santucci on the X
$600
machine.
a day the past 3 years. Like someone handed me $600 every day for 3 days. It ain't
Fucking
bad.
A.
Yeah,
That's
I'll take
really fucking nice.
Yep.
It's at John Santucci VIP. Follow him and just listen to whatever he says. You can make you some money. Paulski is giving out his information on his Bearski Bearskifilm YouTube channel, which is outstanding. Great work, Paulski, and thanks for being here on short notice. And by the way, Danny Shimon, fuck you. You didn't show up tonight. No, I'm just kidding. I hope you had a good birthday with your son. And I will see Danny tomorrow at 9 p.m.
I gotta go. My
Central
kid's
here.
crying. Yep.
All right, brother.
Bye,
Take
Paulski.
care. And for everyone here at the Barroom, we'll see you all next time. Thank you.